This is your moment, this is your time to do what you've always wanted with your life. This is the end of everything you knew and the beginning of something true. So take hold if you want it, don't let go if you want it, believe if you want it, succeed if you want it, hold on if you want it, cause you know that you want it, you know you want it, you know you want to go.
Fala, me tapa os ouvidos, me fere os olhos com vidro.
Glorious and free. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
And with that beautiful rendition of the national anthem out of the way, we are just seconds away from kickoff here today between the Langley Rams and the Valley Huskers. Justin Morris and Warren Andrews coming to you from the broadcast booth at McLeod Athletic Park. And Warren, you got to see these teams go head-to-head in Langley in Chilliwack a few weeks ago, I should say.
The only thing better than a football game on a sunny day is a rivalry game, and for the first time in years, the Huskers come in having won the previous game, a game in which the Rams actually dominated offensively, couldn't put in the end zone. It was a couple of turnovers, a fumble by Trey Jones, who has really rebounded the last two games, and a blocked field goal that was the difference in that game. Rams are rolling with 2 straight wins. Huskers are coming off of a loss up in Prince George, Kings of the North, as they're calling themselves, and so they'll look to rebound here. Two great quarterbacks. I love both of these guys. Trey Jones was a stud in high school with Lord Tweedsmer. He's rangy. He's got a big arm. He's got some great targets. And Josh Jansen, about 6'9", well, not quite, but about 6'4", 6'5". And the guy's got some great receivers like Dylan Minocha. He can toss it too. So, in my opinion, this game's going to be won in the trenches. Who can control the line, give their quarterback enough time, and crack open enough holes to get the running game going?
Well, the quarterback position has been a question mark for the Rams all season long. They started the year with Jacob Davies in the pocket. He is no longer listed on the roster these last few weeks. Trey Jones got the yank midway through last week's action, and the team went to the backup for the rest of the way. That would be number 16, Hunter Norman. So we'll see if they go back to Trey Jones to start this one. You'd think that he has a bit of a long leash, that he's earned that with the skill he's displayed, not just this season, but over the last few years. But we will see. It's been a spot of bother for them as they try to fill some key positions after, of course, a number of players moved on following last year's championship win at the national level. And it's tough to come back, of course, when you've had a team that is that strong, but still some key positions, some departing bodies have left some big shoes to fill.
Or Corey Philpott, the coach, nothing but perfection to start his coaching career, and a little bump or blip, if you will, because there's a huge target on your back when you are the defending champions.
Just want to remind you about the Rams 50-50 draw.
We are just moments away from kickoff now. Looks like the Rams will be receiving to start this one. Or no, perhaps not.
50-50 team in the stands. That draw will be made in the fourth quarter.
Thought they were setting up the kicking tee at the 40-yard line. My mistake. They will be receiving to start this game.
Normally, the key player for the opposition you're looking at is a star receiver or maybe a star running back. On the Huskers, the guy that kind of makes them click is number 99, an offensive lineman, Isaiah Latander out of Manitoba. He's a guy that's really helped Reese White, the running back, to back-to-back 100-yard games earlier this year. Loves to pancake guys. So whoever's on the defensive side there for the Rams, they may want to double him up and really create some pressure and try to get to the quarterback.
Reese White, certainly a name to keep your eye on the Huskers side over the course of this afternoon. But right now, deep to pick this one up, just outside of their own end zone, Joel Klassen and Ryan Gozen for the Rams as the Huskers get set to kick this one off. And as that ball takes flight, we've got a plane touching down here at beautiful McLeod Athletic Park. And the ball is away, gathered in at the 14 by Ryan Gosen. And Gosen able to slip through some blocks, take that one all the way to about the 37. Nice little pickup of 23 yards on that carry. And the Rams will begin this one still well inside their own end, but with decent field position to start.
Well, it looked like the Huskers were going to pin him deep, but just a nice quick move as the kicking team got down there really quick to put some pressure on him. But a nice move there, picked up probably an extra 15, 20 yards on that play.
We'll start this one about midway between the 36 and the 37. So we try to get a look at who is that in the pocket taking snaps, and I do believe that is Trey Jones who's going to start this one at quarterback. His pass away is complete to Colton DeJong, and DeJong wrapped up and taken down along that far sideline. He may be just shy of the first down, or we'll see where they spot this. I think they're going to move the sticks after all. They will.
It's what you want when you come into a game. You want that positive yardage right away. Get the sticks moving, get some confidence going in your team. And for a team that has struggled to score at times with the Rams, they really need this kind of start.
Trey Jones had a difficult fumble in the early stages of the third quarter last week. And that was it for him. He was yanked after that ball came loose, and a strong start thus far, just 1 for 1 on his only pass of the game. But he is deep in the pocket to get this one started. Jones takes the snap and will hand it off immediately as the Rams try to run it up the gut in the hands of Colton DeJong at running back. That's a new look for this offense, who are, as I said, continually trying new pieces in different places as they look to find the right fits.
Quick six tinkering, trying to find that special ingredient that's going to make this offense pop. Good job by the offensive line to crack open a hole big enough to pick up some positive yardage.
And it is Trey Jones once again. Deep shotgun formation this time. Receivers in motion. Will take the snap. It's a low snap. He's able to recover. However, the ball is away and the pass is complete. As Jones successfully finds number 9, Alex France. And France, in a difficult spot, takes some punishment as he hauls that one in.
Did a really nice job of getting out into the flat and kind of sitting there quietly. The low snap maybe distracted everybody for a moment and was able to get there before Henneberry of the Huskers could wrap him up. So a good reception there. And Jones rolling 2 for 2.
Absolutely. Not just 2 for 2 in the air, but 2 for 2 on first downs as well, as he's moved the sticks on both of his last 2 completions. Jones once again, receivers in motion, will take a low snap, recover, and hand the ball off. But are the Rams able to make it back to the line of scrimmage? I don't believe they are. Cairo Hassan on the carry, and I believe this is going to come back for a loss.
Yeah, Chase Lewins managed to shoot the gap, get inside the hole, and he got there as soon as the handoff. I'm not sure if he was there before the handoff, even it was so close, but that's one thing the Rams offensive line is going to really have to contend with, because this front four of the Huskers can really put pressure on opposing quarterbacks.
And of course, those low snaps not making things easy either. Jones had to recover on his last 2 snaps. This time, ball comes right into his fingers perfectly, and he'll put that one in the air. Looking for France once again. Actually, that one was complete to Terrell Jones along the near sideline, number 2, not number 9. And is that one going to count? No, they'll say he was out of bounds as he hauled it in.
Yeah, he's probably about a step or 2 out. I don't think he could grow the Mr. Plastic legs to keep his feet in bounds, but
Stretch Armstrong, as it were.
At least he's showing the ability to find those receivers, and he's going to fine-tune that as this game goes on.
A strong start from Trey Jones, as we were talking about before this one got started. Some question marks at QB for the Rams after last week's action, and Jones trying to cement his spot as the clear number 1.
May want to avoid number 24, Rolock, who played college down in Kansas. The guy's got an absolute burner for legs.
Tato Aria will kick this one away, and the punt gathered in at about the 21. Number 25, I believe that was, or 15 perhaps, David Coronado. The first ever. It's that Huskers offense going to work for the first time today, and a carry that will pick up, I believe, maybe 4 yards on this one.
Yeah, it's Reese Wyke trying to shoot the gap there. Good job by the defensive line of closing that and shifting over quickly to the left side to limit him from not even getting 5 yards on that play.
And we talked about the Huskers being new and improved this season. I have to imagine Reese Wyke a big reason why, as he is just tearing it up.
Well, it's been the offensive line for the Huskers, really. All returnees offering protection to Jansen.
Josh Jansen looking skyward on that one, not able to make it happen as he was looking for. Was that Reese Wyke, the receiver, on that one as well?
Yeah, I believe he curled out of the backfield there, and that's exactly what you want. As a defense, 2-0, make them punt deep and keep winning that battle for field position here early on.
And the number one thing that I think the Rams can look at, I know this has only been 2 series, each team having 1 crack at offense so far, but discipline was a big issue for Langley last week, and so far the officials not dropping any laundry on the field in this one as of yet.
Well, Huskers have been guilty of bad tempers in previous games also.
Joel Klassen on the return, trying to find a hole to cut north-south. Finally does, but he's wrapped up and hauled down at about the 53 or so on his own side of center. So the Rams going to start this one on the Township of Langley flag at center field, and it looks like we've got an injured Husker on the play as well, as that's Austin Barnum, who's favoring his right knee at the moment, having a hard time making it back to the sideline.
Anytime you can cut the field in half, you're doing pretty good as an offense, getting a good shot, a good look at those end zone posts you want to reach awfully quick. So that's starting points for the Rams in this Cascadia Cup. You love it when they, soccer, you hear the derbies and the rivalries. It's neat when they do the same thing, especially with junior football.
Absolutely. Give a little extra impact, a little extra oomph and meaning. Graphic rival where there actually is a rivalry on the field, and hopefully we got some Huskers fans here in the building today, and we probably had some Rams fans out in Chilliwack a few weeks ago as well.
It has been so topsy-turvy. Kamloops with a pair of wins. When's the last time we saw Kamloops this early with a pair of wins? Prince George with the win, VI Raiders with the win. Everybody's gotten the win column this season. A lot more parity, top to bottom.
Trey Jones getting set to begin his second drive of this game. A little less than 5 minutes shaved off the clock here in the first quarter. And Langley set to get underway offensively from their own 53. Jones looking skyward. The ball is away, downfield, and oh my! It is complete. What a pass into the waiting hands of Beckham Dickey. And that will march this thing all the way down to the 12. Very impressive stuff from the quarterback, Trey Jones, early in this one.
You've heard of bend it like Beckham. That was juggle it like Beckham as he kind of juggled that around, managed to snare it down. Trey Jones has shown in the past it was 77 yards to area in the previous game, almost for a touchdown last time. He loves to go deep, and these Huskers can be susceptible to big plays at times.
Probably not expecting that on the first strike of a drive either. If you're the Huskers defense, I certainly wasn't expecting it up here in the booth, but right now a pitch into the hands of Cairo Hassan as he hits the line, but doesn't get much further than maybe a 4-yard pickup on that carry. Does, however, bring the Rams inside the 10-yard line. I think they're going to spot this on the 9. Oh, right on the 10, basically.
He did a nice job. The offensive line did a first of opening up a little bit of a hole. I'm not sure if he followed the direction signs the way he would have liked if you could have done it in hindsight, and the gap closed awfully quickly because of that.
Well, 2 more tries to find the end zone, though they can get a fresh set of downs if they get inside the 2-yard line. What's Jones going to go for here? A pass into the end zone or another rush attempt? The Rams have options. Snap is in the hands of Trey Jones. He's going to pass this one away. No, he's going to run it himself. Trey Jones at the 6, inside the 2, and a touchdown for the Langley Rams. The quarterback calls his own number, and that'll put 6 up on the board.
Great awareness from Jones, because you talked about him getting pulled last game and a previous game against the Huskers. Made some mistakes. It looks like a young man that stopped and studied the film and is using what God has given him in terms of gifts. And he's got a great set of legs. He can do it with his arm, but he can also do it with his legs. And he did a great job of reading the play, waiting for the blocks to set up, went east-west for a little bit and managed to find the end zone, and the Rams take the early lead.
And it is a very happy sideline on the near side. That Rams bench giving their QB some love as Aria with the extra point attempt. It is good. The Rams up 7-0 at about 6:32 of the opening quarter.
First touchdown in 2 games against these Huskers, as they were down near the promised land a number of times in the previous game. Couldn't quite put it through. The kicking game wasn't there. They missed a field goal, had another one blocked too. And so, yeah, they got to feel awfully good about getting that in nice and early. And Jones looks like he's really rolling. He's got a lot of confidence right now.
And that is certainly a good sign, something that the Rams have been looking for from any quarterback really so far this season. And Trey Jones is the one who is providing that confidence right as we speak. As the Rams will get set to kick this one away. Deep to receive for the Huskers.
That's Christopher Rolak, 24. And
tough to read the number on the far side.
I'm getting old. I should have brought my spectacles. Number 15. Yeah, it's David Coronado, one of the receivers.
I believe it's Christopher Rolak the second, though, who takes that one in, and he's got his heels wrapped up at about the 24, taken down, and that is where the Huskers will begin this drive.
Now, Rolak was the Special Teams Player of the Week, his first week in the BCFC, number 2 in terms of the league schedule. Got some burners, so if Langley's aware of that, can contain him, keep him in the middle, they'll do a good job all day.
He's headed to the sideline now as the offense out on the field to start this one.
One player the Rams will want to be cognizant of is number 8, Dylan Minochi. He's a veteran receiver, a former Ram from way back in the day. Didn't play, though. He just practiced with them. And he's a guy that they look to when they really need to get things going.
Josh Jansen puts the ball into the hands of Reese Wyke, and Wyke wrapped up and hauled down after a gain of maybe 2.
Yeah, it was a really small gain. I'd credit the Rams front 4, really front 7, of all pitching in together, knowing what this guy's capable of, and try to limit the damage.
2nd and 7, so they'll call that a gain of 3 for Wyke. As Josh Jansen was a 2-and-out on his opening drive, will put the ball right back into the hands of Reese Wyke, and this time Wyke will get hauled down. Is he just shy of the first down? Depends how they spot this one, but he was wrapped up about a yard shy of it. No, they're going to say he got it on the fall.
It's probably good because it looked like a little bit of a face mask in there, kind of reaching for him. He was twisting and turning like Gumby in the wind and managed to get his way there. But you notice how they lined up the 3 offensive linemen and really stacked it, and he waited for those blocks to set before he tried to make his move.
As 2 plays in the hands of Reese Wyke will move the sticks. And this Huskers drive continues. Why not go right back to Reese Wyke? This time he's brought down in the backfield for a loss of, I believe, 3 yards on this play, which should bring up a 2nd and 13.
And just a great job by the Rams defensive side of the ball there. Andrew Butchler and company, the coach, of knowing what's coming. And this time they if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But this time it was broke because they managed to break through the line and stop him for a big loss.
Cole Barron credited with the tackle for the Langley defense. 2nd and long. You have to think Josh Jansen looking skyward for just the 2nd time so far this afternoon. Jansen takes a long snap. He's got time, feels the rush coming, puts the ball away to the left side, and it is complete to Reese Wyke once again.
Multi-purpose back out of Winnipeg, the high school system. Played for Team Manitoba also. Said he wears number 1 because he wants to be number 1. He wants to be the guy that has all the pressure. And did a nice job of finding some room in the flat and shirking off the defensive back and picking up the Huskers a first down.
That Casey Printers mindset. As Reese Wyke, not just the star running back, but currently the star receiver as well, as he's been the target of both of Jansen's passes. This time, however, Jansen complete along the near sideline. I believe that was Peyton Lake who hauled that one in.
David Coronado, I think number 15, but Peyton Lake, they're both big, rangy receivers. And I think that would have been a bigger pickup, but credit the Rams for putting pressure on Jansen. He had to roll really deep as he came right and found him open with the pass, but by that time he was only about 3 yards in advance.
That was actually number 88, Reese Morrison.
Oh, Reese Morrison.
Not Peyton Lake.
Well, 3rd time's a charm for us, I guess, too.
Got another look at the number on the replay there, as it's 2nd and 6 for the Huskers, and they're going to hand the ball off. Oh. Loose ball on a fumble. The Rams are saying that they've got it.
Was that Andrew Locke, I believe it was, who had it, and the ball hit a helmet and it popped out.
And that's Cole Barron who shook that one loose. Big number 44, the Baron of Beef, as we take another look at this one. Jansen with the handoff, and Barron with the hit was able to jar that one free before it was recovered by Brox Comia.
And not even just jarring it free, he held on to him so he couldn't recover and get the ball back again. So good awareness there. Barron having quite the game here in the first quarter.
After a couple of big plays from Reese Wyke of the Huskers, suddenly it's the Rams back on offense, as they'll hand the ball off to try and get their running game going with a cut right up the middle. in the hands of number 34. That's Derek Best. So a number of different backs getting a touch here to start this game for Langley.
Yeah, Trey Jones, a feature back at Lord Tweedsmuir, and I think he would have had the first down if he had zigged a little more to the left, ran into the blocker out in front, but still a big pickup on first down.
7 yards on that carry brings up 2nd and 3 for Jones. Once again, deep in the pocket. Receivers in motion, takes the snap, steps back, ball is away, and it's picked off. As Jones was looking to connect with number 80, Beckham Dickey. That was the target on his long strike downfield that set up the Rams touchdown. But unfortunately this time it goes through the hands of Dickey and is scooped up by the Huskers.
That's Rolick that got the interception. And for him, that is interception number 1 on the year. They do have some ball hawks in that secondary, so 2 steps forward, 1 step back for the Rams.
Alex France was in that area as well, but unfortunately it's the Huskers who take the ball right back. A pair of turnovers for both offenses, and now it's Valley starting from their own 41. That's Jansen with the handoff and a big carry from who else? Reese Wyke. That's 10 yards and should move the sticks. So I think they're going to spot him just shy and say that was a pickup of 9. Ball put down at the 50. Take another look at it.
And you look at the 2 offensive linemen there. I think it's Latander and Fournette really open up the hole. Rams really stacked the deck on the right side, but they decide to move it on the other side to the Huskers. And yeah, big pickup there. Almost a first down, but the Rams did a good job of holding just shy.
And I wonder, Warren, if we're seeing a little extra intensity from both sides to start this game because of the Cascade Cup that's been put on the line. A very special regular season matchup here today between 2 geographic rivals.
This one's going to depend on the spot. Where do the referees think that his forward momentum was stopped? A good job one-on-one tackling here. We'll see on the replay. Hand off to Wyke again.
They might bring the sticks out to measure this one.
He kept the legs churning. That was the key, and kind of lunged ahead before he was totally wrapped up. So yeah, this is going to be a decision for Bob Reese, the head coach and company here.
If it is not a first down, it's short by maybe an inch at most, as they do bring the sticks out onto the field for a measurement.
And I think it's just short. Like, we are talking
centimeters.
The length of your beard short. It's a fine beard, by the way.
Thank you. And it is just shy of the first down.
Now here comes the conundrum for the Huskers. You've got a quarterback, Josh Jansen, 6'4", 6'5". However, earlier in the year it was Tyron Duval, who's very athletic, very mobile at the University of Saskatchewan. He got injured against the Prince George Kodiaks, and he was their 3rd down quarterback that would come in, sneak, make the plays. We'll see what they do here. I mean, I think if you're the Huskers, you got to go for it because Langley's built all this momentum here in the first quarter. You need something to sustain that drive. If the Rams can stop this up, they're going to be being awfully good going into that second quarter.
And I know Langley just stopped Reese Wyke on a 2nd and 1 situation, but even if Wyke picked up what he just got on 2nd down again, that would be enough this time to move the chains. So they are going to keep the offense out there on the field.
And Wyke's going quarterback. It's a wildcat.
Huskers are going for it on 3rd and inches, and we got all kinds of flags up. We'll see who these calls go against.
Flag on the play.
Finally, the first appearance of some orange laundry from the officials with 2 minutes and 31 seconds to go here in the opening quarter.
That's been a rare treat, hasn't it? Some games it looks like you're swimming in Holland or something with all the orange you're seeing.
Absolutely, and this one it looks like it's going to go against the Rams.
Offside.
The ball forward.
Surrey on the first down.
Oh, he's living in the past. Surrey. I remember the
Surrey.
big kahuna Rams back in the day.
Huskers a first down.
That one was flip a coin, I think, because both sides were a little jittery, like a Clint Eastwood villain in those old spaghetti westerns, both ready to jump the gun.
It does bring up a fresh set of downs for the Huskers, though, and they're onto the offensive side of the ball as well. or the Langley side of the field, I should say, as Reese White with the carry once more, but can't get any further than the line of scrimmage, it looks like.
Cole Barron, no surprise, the straw that stirs the drink of that defense. One of 4 players in there, despite the stiff arm. Nice one there by White, but then he was absolutely smothered in there. And at 77, that is Hayden Syed, the first guy to make contact, and he waited for his buddies to come in and help him out.
And Reese White, it's those ever-pumping legs that you were talking about earlier, Warren. He's not the biggest guy, but he is hard to bring down.
Put on a lot of size in the offseason. He was quite slight coming in last year, and there's Jansen.
Had time, thought about running it himself, but instead will throw downfield, looking to connect with his receiver, but it's knocked out of the air by a Ram. I was waiting to see if we were going to see a call for PI on that one, but not the case. As we'll take another look at the replay, Jansen with all kinds of time before the blitz finally found him in the backfield.
He just underthrew, and he can thank his receiver for maybe he played defensive back in high school too, because he did a nice job of limiting the Rams from getting their second interception. Or pardon me, not their first interception. The other one was a
They were picked off
turnover.
a little earlier, yeah. A fumble recovery. Finally, it is the Huskers who will punt this one away. Short kick bouncing down to the 26 where it's gathered in by Ryan Gozen, I believe.
Saunders with kind of a squibble kick, and I think it really allowed the Huskers to get down in there deep, and really not a lot of room for the punt returner to make any sort of mark on that play.
A lot of adrenaline, I would imagine, to start this game for both sides, as both offenses look to be clicking not too long ago, and we've seen some troubles here the later we get into the opening quarter, which could be the fact the defenses are adapting as this game goes along as well. But it's Trey Jones who will get his 3rd drive of this game going with a handoff into the waiting hands of Derek Best for his 2nd consecutive carry, and he might be the first running back for Langley all day who's gotten 2 touches in a row.
Well, just a wonderful job by the offensive line there of the Rams. You look at number 66, Nikos Lazarikis did a great job opening up that hole. Credit the Huskers, though, for getting in there and finding that hole and putting a little plaster on it, not before a nice 3 or 4 yard gain, though.
4-yard pickup brings up 2nd and 6. Lots of motion in the backfield as Jones will pitch this one away into the hands of Derek Best once again. Best along the near sideline is pressured out of bounds by, I believe that was Chavis Spencer of the Huskers.
Yeah, Spencer, one of the veteran defensive backs for the Huskers. 3rd man in on it. Best made the first one miss. Second one, little contact, and finally Spencer comes in to pick up the stat.
And that'll bring up 3rd down where the Rams will punt away for, I believe, just the first time today.
And really, if you think about the trajectory of these two franchises the last few years, defense really has been the calling card ever since Bob Reese has got there with the Huskers. And you look at that amazing defense that the Rams had last year, maybe the best in history in Canadian junior football.
I think it is probably safe to call them that. The greatest defense that the league has ever seen, given the touchdowns or lack thereof that the Rams gave up throughout the entirety of last season. Of course, Kyle Claret, a big part of that. He's no longer here this year, but in his absence, we've seen guys like Kenneth Balukos and Dane Campbell step up and try to fill that void.
Well, they always say, you know what, when that door opens, be ready to seize it. Opportunity knocks, you better take it. And some of these Rams defenders are doing just that in the absence of losing a real junior legend.
As Tato Aria will kick this one away. Decent length on this kick, and it's going to bounce to the 35 where it's gathered in by Christopher Rolak. Rolak cutting to the left side, but he's wrapped up by a wall of Rams and hauled down after a gain of maybe 8 yards on that return.
Yeah, and ran about 30 yards to pick up that 8, going east to west. Good job on the cover team after a beautiful kick. And look at that, 1 quarter already in the books.
Some solid action, but for both sides in the opening quarter of this one. It is the BCFC on Telus Game of the Week, brought to you by the BC Lions and eXp Realty. 97 Way Home Real Estate Group in Kelowna and the Coast to Coast Real Estate team in Nanaimo. A special game, your second BCFC on TELUS Game of the Week this week, because it is the first annual Cascade Cup brought to you by the fine folks at Sublimation Squad. If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. And if you play good, you win. That is what they say at Sublimation Squad. Proud to bring you the first ever Cascade Cup between the Rams and Huskers. Back in action here for the second quarter, and this time it's the Huskers looking deep. But just shy of the target was Josh Jansen on that long bomb. As we take another look at the replay, Jansen stepping back way deep, and what an arm.
Yeah, play action, looking for Ethan Porter. He's got that really strong arm, just an excellent athlete overall. Top basketball player when he played at Sardis also, but just overshot the target. And I think it's been very tough for both quarterbacks, other than one or two big plays, because the defensive backs are so good on both sides. They've really relied on the running game, trying to set up that long passing game.
Of course, Trey Jones of the Rams with one touchdown so far today, but he does have an interception to his name as well. As this time, Jansen looking to connect downfield once again, and I believe was looking for Ethan Porter for a second consecutive play, but just overthrown once more.
I'm not sure if this is a case of Jansen maybe feeling the heat from that defensive front four of the Rams, or just maybe getting a little too overconfident, overshooting the receiver. Nice job by the Rams. So once again, they're limiting it. They're not giving him a whole lot of options. He's throwing it high, and they're going out very quickly, and it'll give the Rams, Trey Jones and company, a chance to put some more points on the board.
He's had time in the pocket so far today, even when he's had to scramble, has Jansen. But it's yet another punt away for the Huskers, gathered in by the Rams just shy of their own 30s. It's Ryan Gozen once again, who's going to cut right across the field up to about the 53. But there is multiple flags on the field for this one.
I think it's an illegal block, and it's a shame for the Rams because that's a 25, 30-yard gain that's going to come back for naught after a great punt by Saunders.
Ryan Gozen with a pair of nice returns back to back.
And that play happened back there, and you know what? Maybe the big run back doesn't happen without that penalty.
As it looks like this is going to bring them way back. The Rams currently huddling along their own 15 as we await the official call. Conversation going on right now between the head official and Dan Mugisha of the Rams.
During the return, number 4, illegal block. First down.
Well, we missed most of that, but we caught the important part, an illegal block.
We need what they have on the Parliament TV, where they have the little man in there doing some sign language, interpreting what's happening, I think, with some of these officials.
Well, at least he said Langley this time.
At least he said Langley this time. This is the deepest the Rams have started all game.
Trey Jones right now starting this drive from his own 22nd. Jones will get the ball away, but he was just throwing the garbage on that one. And there were a pair of Huskers circling, waiting to scoop that one up, but it hits the turf harmlessly, incomplete.
And I think there's a little miscommunication with the receivers. Number 9, Alex France, number 24, area, kind of arguing after that play because there was only one Rams receiver anywhere near the vicinity and 3 Huskers defenders there.
Zach Badke, number 22, and number 24, Christopher Rolak for the Huskers were in prime position to come up with a grab. But yeah, as you say, really no Rams in position to come up with that one as it brings up a 2nd and 10. Trey Jones once again. Have to think he's looking to the sky as he needs 10 yards, but now they're going to hand the ball off, and the carry is wrapped up at the line as they put that one into the hands of Cairo Hassan, and it had nowhere to go, almost right from the jump.
The Huskers with a nice poker bluff. They looked like they were going to step back in coverage, and instead brought 2 players up there to put some pressure on the quarterback, handed it off, and right away they were there greeting them like a foreigner coming off the plane to a beautiful tropical paradise.
And Ethan Porter playing on both sides of the ball for the Huskers. He was an intended target a few times on offense moments ago, just came up with that tackle on defense.
The Huskers seem to have quite a number of receivers this year. I think Bob Reese trying to figure out where to use them the best.
It's a similar story for the Rams so far this season, as well as Aria with a short punt that comes down at about the 44 inside Langley territory. Not nearly the length that he would have hoped for on that one, but we do have flags on this play here as well.
That's going to be no yards, just 5 yards. The ball bounced before he got it, I think. So hard to not be no yards, though, when it's that short of a kick, and you have guys that are pretty speedy getting down there in an awful hurley. This has just been, if you're one of those old-fashioned football fans, and there are those guys that love, the hardcore guys, they love games like this, where it is in the trenches, men smashing into each other.
Langley, number 54, first down.
You know, for the casual fan, they're looking for more of those big plays, stretching the defense out, maybe a big jet sweep around, picking up 20, 30 yards. We haven't seen too much of that.
We have seen one of them, though, as Trey Jones connected way downfield with Beckham Dickey earlier in this one. That one set up the Langley touchdown that was run in by Jones himself.
Timeout, Langley.
So a quick little whistle there as the play was about to be blown in, and maybe the wrong personnel out there for the Huskers.
Indeed. The Rams making a switch at the moment, actually, as it's number 99, Cade Manuel South, coming to the sidelines, and running onto the field is Luca Brown, big number 49.
You know, this is a big game for the Rams for a number of reasons. They, of course, want to win their third straight, but also they win their third straight, they're tied with the Huskers in the standings, and I believe if they win by 8 or 9, they actually win the season series.
Huh. So all kinds of stakes in this one, beyond just the first ever Cascade Cup on the line between these two teams today. And the Cascade Cup brought to you by Sublimation Squad. 12:22 to go here in the opening half. As it's the Huskers on offense, starting this drive from the 39 inside enemy territory. Don't have far to go to tie this game up, as Jansen will hand the ball off to who else but Reese White, who's pushed out along the far sideline after a pickup of 3, maybe?
I'll show my age here, but I'm a big fan of Seinfeld, and Izzy Mandelbaum, the 90-year-old personal trainer, always talked about playing macho head games, and it looks like both these teams playing a little bit of macho head games at the line, as lots of receivers in motion, then stopping, and then the Rams would bring up a 5 or 6 up front to look like there's a little pressure. So it's pretty fun to see the coaches going at each other here in the second quarter.
They're going to say that White picked up nothing on that carry, so it's 2nd and 10. As Jansen will step back, looking to throw. He feels the pressure coming and will run it up the middle himself. Jansen, with all kinds of room, finally slides on one knee to evade the tackle, and that's a pickup of at least 15 for the Valley quarterback.
Yeah, usually the only time Jansen will run if he's running for his life, but maybe a drawn-up play right there, right up the middle. Good job by the offensive line of the Huskers to create that room, and he's so lanky that as soon as he slid, he picks up another 3 yards just by slide.
Pass coverage really left nobody in the middle of the field for the Rams. He had all kinds of room to run. And that'll bring up a fresh set of downs for the Huskers as they're just shy of the red zone. 1st and 10 from the 22. Now Reese White pushed out along the far sideline once again. This will pick up about 3, if not 4 yards for the Huskers.
Quick screen outside to Luke Rodriguez. Had some big catches for the Huskers in the past. Good job by the Rams, though, to recognize that and get over there quickly and limit the damage.
My apologies. I thought that was Reese White just based on stature, but you're correct. Luke Rodriguez, not the tallest guy in the world either, but he did have some nice moves along the sideline to pick up some extra yards. 2nd and 8, just inside the red zone on the 20. Jansen skyward once more. Pass complete. Short pass. Complete into the waiting hands.
Is that Lake or is that Morrison? I saw the 80. I couldn't see if it was an 88 or 80. Both rangy receivers and just a quick little play.
Looked like 82.
On 82, another rangy one. That's a Brandon Halsey. Not the singer Halsey.
Folks, when you're getting your 50 tickets, don't forget about the Rams season
Although maybe, I don't know. I've never heard him sing.
It's yes, entirely possible.
Box sweep for 10.
As Brandon Halsey will pick up about 5 on that catch, and you have to think the Huskers, do they settle for a field goal here, or do they try to push it a little further? I would think that at this stage of the game, you just want to put points up on the board.
I think so, and Saunders has been pretty reliable in terms of his leg strength for them, and just get some points on the board, get a little bit of confidence. But that's a win for the Rams, because this was a long drive that extended for quite a while, and they were able to bend but not break if it does result in a field goal or a missed field goal.
That stop looks like it's coming at a cost, however. Is heading to the sideline at the moment is big number 60, Christopher Moon, for the Rams.
A big loss for the Rams. If he can't get back on the field, maybe he just needs a little touch-up job. And
he is making his way to the sideline under his own volition, which is always a promising sign, as the Huskers look for the field goal, and it is good. Kicked right through the uprights, and suddenly we got a 4-point game on the board. It's the Rams in the lead, but not by much, 7-3, with a little over 10 minutes left to play here in the second quarter.
now Saunders 6 for 6 this year on field goals. Hasn't really been tested. We're not looking at 50 or 60-yard field goals. They're usually close to what we saw there. Now, how do the Rams respond? Here's the key, because there's a big drive by the Huskers. Do you want to go quick strike because you know you've got the other Jones brother out there area? They got some big weapons they can use.
And it did work for them to get their first touchdown. A massive strike downfield on the first play of the drive, which was very unexpected. But if you're the Huskers, you've been burned by that already so far once in this game. Do you maybe feel it coming a little bit the second time?
Well, I think Coach Philpott and company are really going to watch what does Jones do. How does he rebound from that interception now? Does he come back with confidence, or is he a little more hesitant after throwing that pick?
As Aiden Saunders getting set to kick this one off. After the Huskers field goal to pull them within a score of taking the lead. And a long kick downfield, gathered in at about the 7 by Cairo Hassan of the Rams, who will pick up a good 23 yards on the return before he's brought down at the 30.
Play a little bumper cars with the first blocker he had. It kind of wheeled him forward a little bit. You'll see here a nice block set up, hits his own blocker, and it kind of pinged him the other way. And he managed to pick up another 7 or 8 yards after that contact.
Cairo Hassan, who had been the star running back on offense, now doing it on special teams as they continue to find the right home for some of these guys.
If that was meant to be, that was a great play, because he actually pinged him into a defender and managed to create even more space.
As Trey Jones will hand this one away to Derek Best once again, and Best with a big pickup on first down. Looks like he grabs about 7, as that's going to come down at the 38, if I'm not mistaken. They're going to spot it at the 36. So still a nice pickup nevertheless. If you can do that one more time, it's a fresh set of downs.
Yeah, good job by the offensive line of creating enough room for the big Diesel to run. And we saw him in high school. That guy played basically on one leg in the Subway Provincials and carried his team all the way, I think, to the semifinals.
A number of these players on both sides really have been stars of the high school game in years gone by, and right now it's Trey Jones with a pass complete into the hands of Alex France, but I believe this will be shy of the first down, not by much. They might have to bring out the sticks for this one yet again, Warren.
Rolak in again in coverage. I think the play just took a little too long to develop. It was a bit of a quicker play. You're picking up the first down and maybe a few more. Pass was up high, though. The receiver had to reach up to get it, gave the defensive back time to get in there and cover very, very quickly. Close, though, you can see.
Yeah, I think they're going to say that this one is short by inches. It's second down, and they are not going to measure. The Rams trying to push it forward. They don't have far to go.
They got it. They got it. Just a good job keeping those legs churning.
As they put Tristan Secord Yancey in at quarterback, he is the guy that they like to put in the pocket for those short yard situations.
He just kept those big legs churning, kept his body twisting. It was hard to wrap up, but did a good job, and the Rams keep this drive alive.
Fresh set of downs for this Langley offense as the drive continues with under 8 minutes to play here in the opening half. It's Langley up 7-3 on the Huskers at the first ever Cascade Cup between Valley and Langley, as the Rams will run it once again. This time to the left side in the hands of Derek Best, and he will pick up about 4 on that carry.
That's Best versus White on the ground in this game, and shot the gap. Real nice job by the offensive line of opening up a bit of a hole there on the left side, and the big guy got himself going. And you like to see that. It was one of those plays where he started a little bit back before he got the handoff and got that momentum churning him forward.
And do they go right back to the ground game once again, as they need about 6 yards for a first? Trey Jones fakes the handoff. The pass is away and incomplete. Hit into the hands of number 21, Colton DeJong, and he just could not hang on this time.
And DeJong had the first down. He had space away from the defenders. Nice play action by Jones. Looked off the defenders, and one of those plays, I think, where the receiver was already thinking about where they were going to go once they got that reception, but you got to wrap it up first.
Bit of a juggler on this one for DeJong, and he is just not able to hold on to that football.
Cirque du Soleil will not be calling after that play.
And the Rams set to punt this one away from their own 45. Aria way back at the 30. He'll take the long snap and kick it away. It comes down to the 45 inside Valley territory, but there is a flag on the field.
Coronado picks it up. Might be in no yards, and if it is, he caught it, so it might be a few extra yards because of that. Yeah, you can see the Rams player surprised. I think they all thought it was going to go a little bit deeper, so you can't really fault the Rams player for that penalty.
As that was Logan Curley for Langley, who, as you said, was caught by surprise that the ball came down right beside him.
I think Coronado was surprised. I think he was setting up to block himself, and it just ended up falling right into his waiting arms.
And that's a 15-yard penalty against the Rams that will get the Valley Huskers started at about the 49 inside Langley territory. Josh Jansen will pass. He's got all the time in the world. No, he's going to run it himself yet again. Jansen out to the far sideline, will just jog into his own bench, as it's not enough for a fresh set of downs, but a pickup of about 6 for the Valley quarterback.
You can credit Cole Barron on this play, though, for it not being a first down, because it made Jansen hesitate. You could see him and number 23, Dennis Moses, really limited his chance of getting a first down. So good play by those defenders there of stopping the Huskers from moving the sticks.
I thought that was a 5-yard pickup. They're going to say it was only 3, as Jansen was quite deep in the backfield, actually, when he decided he was going to run it. So it looked like he picked up about 15, but a lot of that was just getting back to the line of scrimmage. Jansen takes the snap, fakes the handoff, will put it downfield with a long bomb, and that one just overthrown as he was looking to connect with number 87, Luke Rodriguez of the Huskers.
Both teams have used the run to set up play action here, and are really trying to stretch out these defensive backs. And other than the one time the Rams were successful, neither side's defensive backs have bitten on the deep ball too often. And maybe that's just because neither quarterback has put a perfect touch on it for them. It's always been a few yards away from the outstretched fingertips of the receivers.
But an impressive arm on Josh Jansen. The fact that that was overthrown looking that deep, not underthrown.
There's never been a problem with his gun. It's a matter of, can he find the target with the gun?
Bouncing ball is gathered in by the Rams on the return, as it's Ryan Gozen yet again, who will get back to his own 36. But once again, there is another flag on the field. Are they going to
call that a horse collar?
This has been the story.
Didn't look like a face mask. It looks like he kind of reached up around the shoulder pads, dragging him down. I think they're going to call it that. They don't want you ever grabbing right around the neck area if you're going to tackle somebody down.
And that was the play that sees the left shoulder pad come loose out of the jersey on Gozen, as you can see right there. I believe that is where the flag came down. We'll get the call in just a second.
No foul. Number 9, Huskers was onside.
As no flag in the end.
You know what? And I thought for sure they were going to call the horse collar. I've seen lesser plays called for horse collars.
And it looks like they were going to call one of the Huskers for offside, but decided to walk that one back instead. So a bit of a strange sequence, but the Rams will begin this drive from their own 36. And it's Trey Jones who's calling his own number after seeing Josh Jansen do the same multiple times. The Langley quarterback will run into the sideline at the midfield mark, if not the 54 inside Husker territory. What a run for Trey Jones.
In basketball, they call that breaking your ankles, and Curtis Flynn had him out on the flat, and Trey Jones found another gear, managed to shift it wide left and picked up another 7 or 8 yards, left Flynn in his dust.
A terrific run from the Langley quarterback. He's got the lone touchdown in this game, and it was a rushing TD after he called his own number from about the 8-yard line. As Jones will take the snap at the midfield mark here. Fresh set of downs, Langley inside enemy territory. Jones with a pass away, looking to connect with who else but number 80, Beckham Dickey, but Dickey could not gather that one in.
You know, it's like both sets of quarterbacks having to go to the ground themselves, because we talked about how good the defensive backs on both sides have been, locking up receivers overall. And you see it there, he's throwing into a crowd, and right away you've got 6 jerseys of each color waiting for that ball, and a little underthrown on that play.
That's been the story for Beckham Dickey and Alex France really these last couple weeks. Every time they come up with a big grab, they are in the middle of a crowd of bodies and just take immediate punishment as they haul it in. But it's 2nd and 10 now as Jones fakes the handoff, looking skyward, but again going to call his own number along the ground. Doesn't have quite as much room as he had last time, as it was coming out to the right side for Trey Jones this time, and there was just a wall of Huskers there to greet him.
Yeah, Sam Hannaberry, the linebacker, among the players this time. Unlike Flynn on the other side, he wouldn't be fooled. And number 22, Zach Badke, first player to get his mitts on him.
Really the one who stopped him in his tracks too, as Jones had to think about which way he wanted to go to try and get past Badke, and ultimately there was no way to do it.
Even gave the little head fake too, and trying to get a few more yards there, but it's awfully tough when you've got about 6 players. But it looks like Badke paid the ultimate price as he's down into some discomfort all on the turf.
Taking his helmet off as he's got the trainers attending to him at the moment.
And really, as the season winds on and you've been calling games for a while, you know it's a war of attrition. How many good, healthy bodies do you have, you know, in the heart of the schedule right around now after you played about 5 or 6 games, and guys are starting to get a little bit banged up.
Extra true of a team like Langley, who of course were playing well into the postseason last year, going all the way to the championship game and winning it all. It takes the entire offseason, sometimes even more than that, for guys to get their bodies right after a lengthy playoff run like that.
Might have been the only benefit of COVID for them, that they got that little extra break kind of in between.
As it's a 3rd and long situation, or 3rd and 5, I should say. But the Rams are going to kick this one away, as Aria back on his own 45.
No Rolak back to receive this punt.
Looks like David Coronado. Aria with the kick. Bounce at about the 32 and out of bounds at the 30.
And we've seen Aria with some really nice punts in the past, but the last few he's struggling. You wonder if maybe he tweaked a little something on his leg playing when he's out as a positional player.
Consistency has been an issue, though, for him the last few years, if I'm being honest, Warren.
And we appreciate the honesty.
Well, I don't mean to bag on the guy at all. He does a great job, certainly with the place kicking, but you never know what you're going to get on his punts sometimes. And that one, honestly, one of the better ones we've seen in a situation like that of late, as it rolled out of bounds at the 32, but they're going to spot it back at the 45.
During the kick, First down.
Oh, really, if you look at junior football as a whole, kicking is often the crapshoot position because a lot of guys don't try to perfect it in high school. It's kind of, did you play soccer growing up? Okay, you're our kicker now, right?
Exactly.
And they get to junior, it's like, well, who can kick the furthest?
Exactly. As it's the Huskers who will begin this one with a bit of a trick play, but it did not fool the Rams defense.
Jet sweep to Minocha, and he's done that a number of times this year and been a lot more successful in previous incarnations.
Number 23, Dennis Moses.
Dylan Minocha, who, as you said earlier in the broadcast, Warren, is a former Langley Ram. Practice squad only, but still has some ties to this Langley organization. Just tried to burn him on that one. The pickup of about 2 will bring up 2nd and 8 for this Huskers offense.
And he was kind of one of the last batch of the Abbotsford players that would always, if you were elite, you came to Langley. And then if you wanted a spot, you went to the Huskers. And that's kind of changed a bit now. And now there's choices and 2 good programs. And that's good, I think, for the Valley as a whole.
Josh Jansen stepping back to throw. And this time he's right on the money. Complete into the hands of number 3, Dag Mora. And that will move the chains in a big way. Jansen's longest strike of the game will move the Huskers inside enemy territory.
Well, you know, the Rams did everything right because if you look, the coverage was good. Ball was underthrown a little bit again, and Mora had to be acrobatic to come up with that. And he's one of those receivers. They seem to have a different receiver every game that steps up and has a big game. But it's always one guy and a different one.
1st and 10 now from the Langley 38 as Jansen will hand the ball off to his favorite target, number 1, Reese Wyke. But Wyke with a pickup of maybe 2 before he hits the line. And I believe that was Joel Klassen who's able to bring him down.
Yeah, Klassen got through, fought through. Talk about struggling. He got through about 2 offensive linemen and managed to get those shoulder pads in there and stop the damage that Wyke was trying to create.
We'll credit him with a pickup of 3 on the carry, however. So it's 2nd and 7.
I got to say, I love the replays. Robbie Snooks and the gang from For the Win Media always do. They always give you such a nice close angle, feel like you're right there on the sidelines.
As Josh Jansen takes the snap, it's going to look skyward on 2nd down yet again, right down the middle. And there was nobody defensively there to stop that play. It would have been a clean lane to the end zone for Peyton Lake, but he just could not gather that one in.
Now the former Vincent Massey Trojan out of Manitoba, wide open, had visions of doing his touchdown dance, but there will be no dancing as he shuffles to the sideline.
That'll bring that one all the way back to the 35 for 3rd down. And if you are the Huskers with less than 3 minutes to play in the half, do you just go for it on 3rd? It looks like that's exactly what they're going to do.
Well, it's either that or I know that Bob Reese and company love to do a trick play or 2 almost every single game on 3rd down.
Jansen with the pass away, complete to Reese Wyke, will get to the 30, but no further. Brought down just a yard shy of the sticks. And that'll be a turnover on downs and put the ball back in the hands of the Langley offense.
Joel Klassen waving it off as he went to the sidelines. And a nice stand there. You get in the hands of one of your best offensive weapons, did the Valley Huskers. But the Rams said, okay, you can catch it, but you're not getting the 1st down.
And if there was one guy who was going to do it for this Huskers offense, you would think it would be Reese Wyke. But the Rams able to come up with a big stop defensively, leave him just 1 yard shy of moving the sticks, and Langley will start this drive from their own 30. 2:33 on the clock.
Jones looking to recapture some of that confidence he had very early in this game.
Trey Jones takes the snap, will hand that ball off for a run in the hands of Cairo Hassan, and Hassan wrapped up and hauled down after a pickup of maybe 3 on that one.
Yeah, 5th-year man James Moore shot the gap, was able to find him right away, fought off the offensive lineman and just wrestled him down. No surprise coming from a guy who studied Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu during the COVID off season so he could learn to be a better defensive lineman.
They're only going to credit Cairo Hassan with 1 yard on that carry, so a favorable spot for the Huskers here. 2nd and 9. Trey Jones takes the snap. Looking skyward, has pressure coming. He's wrapped up and hauled down in the backfield. A big sack for number 7, James Moore of the Huskers.
And once again, yeah, just the one-on-one battle. You don't even see Moore. He's outside the picture, but he got away around the offensive lineman, London Somers, and managed to get that one paw on Trey Jones. And as elusive as Jones is, he just couldn't escape that time.
They'll bring out Tato Aria and the kicking crew yet again. Just over 2 minutes left to play in the opening half. Langley up 7-3. Thus far, the only touchdown in this game belonging to Rams quarterback Trey Jones.
Boy, if you watched the first 4 minutes of this game, you thought, well, this is going to be a 40-37 game, but it is just ground down, and these defenses have come to play. Even the running game has really dried up for both sides, unless the quarterback is trying to pick up yards.
Absolutely. The quarterbacks for both teams have been the most successful runners thus far in this game, and that is no slight to Reese Wyke or Derek Best, who've been pretty good as well. Aria taking the snap back to his own 10. Will put this one in the air. Kick going to come down at about the 44 and bounce to the 52. It's still inside Langley territory as the Huskers on the return are finally brought down. That was David Coronado at about the 37.
Huskers coaching staff trying to get Coronado a little more involved as he hasn't had many passes thrown his way. And great field position for the Huskers, and another tough stand for this Rams defense to try to shut the Huskers down. So far they've been successful. They haven't reached the end zone as of yet.
A little over 100 seconds left to play in this second quarter. 149 up on the big board as Josh Jansen will take the snap and hand the ball off to Reese Wyke. Wyke along the right side, can't go very far, however, maybe just got back to the line of scrimmage before he was wrapped up and halted by number 44, Cole Barron for the Rams.
Wow, Barron absolutely making a case for Defensive Player of the Week. He's been all over the stat sheet on the defensive side for the Rams, and just a good job of shirking off those blockers and getting in on a very good running back in Reese Wyke.
And 1 yard is the gain for Wyke. So not too dissimilar to what Cairo Hassan was able to pick up for the Rams not long ago on their most recent drive. 2nd and 9 from the 41. Jansen takes the snap, fakes the handoff, flag on the play. Jansen looking downfield, and it's complete for a touchdown. The Huskers able to find the end zone in the hands of who else? Number 80, Peyton Lake, the man they were looking for on their last drive.
We'll see if it's coming back, though, on the way Corey Philpott is pointing. It looks like it might be coming back. And was it an offside?
Big penalty call coming up now as we check in with the officials on which way this one's going to go. Oh, yes, this is definitely getting walked back on the Huskers.
Offside, number 6, Huskers. 2nd down, repeated.
Dayton Smythe getting called for a huge penalty to negate what was going to be Valley's first touchdown of this game.
You almost forgive those penalties when it's the player that maybe catches a touchdown. You realize maybe that's why they're open. But if it's somebody that's nowhere near where the play ended.
It's Reese Wyke with the ball yet again. Was that enough to move the chains? Looks like it will be, as it's a mess of bodies around the 29, and they needed to get it past the 32.
Well, I think, you know what, at this time in the game here, with just over a minute to go in the half, this is 3-down territory for either team. One of the biggest runs for Wyke here in the half. Maybe had 1 of 10, I think, earlier in the half, but Rams front four have done such a nice job of limiting the spaces he could go.
It's completely removed from the game. I think I just saw the fastest plane coming in for a landing that I've ever seen at the airport next to us here at McLeod Athletic Park. But as the Huskers continue to look for the end zone, this time ball went maybe 5 yards, 4 yards perhaps on that carry. We'll see where they spot this one.
An absolute dog pile, and they did a job of moving the Rams defenders, allowing White to pick up half of what he needed, and now this is a big second down for the Huskers and an even bigger second down for the Rams.
Reese White moving even faster than that plane I just saw coming in at the airport. As this time it's Josh Jansen looking skyward. Out to the flats on the left side, pass complete. Can they find the end zone? They're going to bring up a fresh set of downs as that pass found the hands of David Coronado. Shy of the house, but they will move the sticks, and that is big with less than 30 seconds left to play in the half.
Yeah, the little juke here kind of opened things up, got Baluk Michael to bite on that. It allowed him to get down to the 6-yard line, and now time could be the enemy for the Huskers here and a friend to the Rams with just 28 seconds to go.
Can Josh Jansen find the end zone? Clock is running. Jansen takes the snap. Pass in the air, incomplete, but they're going to say pass interference. That penalty is set to be assessed against Kenneth Balukos of the Rams. And oh my, not sure I agree with that one. We'll take another look at it
More
here.
hand checking than those Renaissance glove fights. They kept going at each other like crazy. You could have called it on anything on either player. In the end, though, went against the Rams.
Dag Mora was the intended receiver on that one. Get the announcement from the officials.
No foul on the play. Second down.
I say because you know what, Kenneth Balukos could have asked for an appeal there because they were both going at each other, both going for that loose ball. You could see Kenneth looking at the ball, and that's always the key. Was he looking at the receiver? Was he looking at the ball?
And that's good officiating, Warren. I like to see it when the officials are able to concede that they got it wrong instead of sticking to the initial call, especially when they're talked out of it by their fellow referees on the officiating crew.
And you know, it's so easy for us. We're sitting up here with a great vantage, or even fans in the stands, but when you have the game going at the speed it's going, so many players you're watching, it's hard as an official to kind of differentiate that quick moment what happened. So yeah, credit to them.
As the Langley Rams elect to call timeout here with 21 seconds remaining on the clock here in the opening half. Langley, the only touchdown on the board, and they're hoping to keep it that way, but might be in tough to do so as it's 2nd and goal for the Huskers, and you have to think they got time on both of those strikes here if they're not able to find the house on this next play. It is the Cascade Cup on BCFC TV, the TELUS game of the week here from the McLeod Athletic Park. Justin Morissette and Warren Andrews bringing you the action. Jake Elliott currently on assignment.
This is the closest the Huskers will get to a home game for the entire month of September. 4 straight road games, started in Prince George a couple of weeks ago, had the bye, and now they're here, and the Rams would like to continue keeping them winless on the road.
Josh Jansen will take the snap. We're back underway. Jansen with a pass complete into the end zone, and this one is going to count. It's Dag Mora with the celebration dance after gathering that one in.
That was a great reception. The dance, not so much.
Don't think he would have made it past the audition stage, and so you think you can
I
dance.
look like one of those guys that are on like the car dealerships that float around in the wind. It looked a little bit like that kind of dance.
Wacky waving inflatable arm tube man.
But that was a great catch nonetheless. And this game, boy, back and forth they go.
As it's Jansen who's able to get the touchdown on this one, but what are they talking about now? We still have not seen the 6 points go up on the board. Is it possible this touchdown is going to be negated? Indeed, it has been, as we didn't get the announcement from the officials on that one. But the Huskers called for a pick. It's a 10-yard penalty against the offense. And a second consecutive Josh Jansen passing touchdown has been negated by a Huskers penalty flag.
And if you go back even further, he had a wide open receiver slipped in and out of his fingertips too. He should have 3 touchdowns on the day. He's got to feel a little hard done by.
Number 80. Second down, 15-yard penalty.
Peyton Lake, the guilty party for the Huskers.
Peyton Lake, who was the initial receiver who caught the initial waved off touchdown, this time is responsible for negating the TD that went into the hands of Dag Mora instead. Second down 17 seconds on the clock. Can Langley hold them out one more time? Jansen looking skyward. Down along the left side, pass complete once again, but was he in bounds? I don't believe he was. The officials will say that Reese Wyke was out of bounds as he gathered that one in, and the Rams have 12 seconds now to get out of danger. Can they hold this Huskers offense out of the end zone one more time?
And that was so close because Wyke's heel was out of bounds. He had the toe inbounds, but the heel went down first. A matter of inches or centimeters, because we're Canadians, but no touchdown again.
Take another look at it here on the replay, and we didn't see his feet on that replay, but you can see that he was most likely out of bounds as he gathered that one in. And it looks like, indeed, Valley going to settle for a field goal. And what a turn of events that is when you consider that Josh Jansen passed into the end zone not once but twice, and that field goal attempt just pinged off the post and out. What an incredible turn of events here to end the half.
First time in 7 tries that Saunders has not put it through the uprights. Gets as close as he could to putting it through, but yeah, what a lucky break for the Rams there. And you have to wonder if they'll go into victory formation here for the last 5 seconds, regroup and get ready for what should be in a very exciting second half.
And if you are head coach Corey Philpott during this intermission, you have to be hammering home how lucky your team is to still be holding the lead as we head into the break. They cannot let this luck slip away. They need to build on this lead in the second half. I am just in shock, Warren. I cannot believe that not one but 2 passing touchdowns for the Huskers, negated by penalty flags, and Langley will just take the snap to run down the clock and take us to the half. An incredible turn of events late in the second quarter, setting the stage for a very dramatic second half. Any final thoughts before we leave the folks for intermission?
Well, I think, you know what, if you're the Rams, you can't continue to play with fire here. You've got to start locking up those defenders. You got to start getting a little more pressure on Jansen, who isn't the most mobile quarterback despite rushing a couple of times. They get those 2 things right, they can continue holding on to this lead and win their 3rd consecutive game. It's a big ask to do, but they need to talk about in the intermission.
It's a big ask, but it's a big game. The first annual Cascade Cup brought to you by Sublimation Squad. If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. And if you play good, you win. That is what the Rams are hoping to do in the second half. Sublimation Squad, the proud sponsor of the first ever Cascade Cup. And that is, of course, the reason why we have a 2nd consecutive BCFC on Telus Game of the Week here from McLeod Athletic Park, brought to you by the BC Lions and eXp Realty, 97 Way Home Real Estate Group in Kelowna, and the Coast to Coast Real Estate Team in Nanaimo. Justin Morissette and Warren Andrews bringing you the call this week. We'll take a break, go grab a drink, fix yourself a Dagwood sandwich perhaps. Don't go anywhere, folks. More football action coming your way in just under 15 minutes' time. You are watching the BCFC on Telus TV.
This is your moment, this is your time to do what you've always wanted with your life. This is the end of everything you knew and the beginning of something true. So take hold if you want it, don't let go if you want it, believe if you want it, succeed if you want it, hold on if you want it, 'cause you know that you want it, you know you want it, you know you want to go. Yesterday's gone, it's here and it's now. We're pressing on and we're taking ground. Don't wanna look back with any regrets. It's now or never. So take hold if you want it, don't let go if you want it, believe if you want it, succeed if you want it, hold on if you want it, 'cause you know that you want it, you know you want it, you know you want to go.
are back inside the broadcast booth here at beautiful McLeod Athletic Park in the township of Langley. Nearly ready for kickoff in the second half of today's Cascade Cup between the Langley Rams and the Valley Huskers. And there it is, a beautiful look at that gorgeous Cascade Cup being handed out for the very first time, giving some extra oomph, some extra stakes to what is otherwise an ordinary regular season matchup between these two teams. But you almost don't need a trophy on the line when it's two regional rivals like the Huskers and the Rams. Justin Morissette joining you. Warren Andrews alongside me up here in the booth. And Warren, it's been a great game so far.
Well, you know what, and the funny thing is, too, I was crediting the defensive backs of doing such a wonderful job of shutting down the receivers. Then our producer kind of pointed out, hey, have you seen what the wind looks like? We are inside of a covered area broadcasting, and then you look out at the flags that are fluttering towards the airport, and yeah, it is quite windy out there, so that might be playing a little havoc with the passing game.
Probably a big reason why as well. The Huskers were unsuccessful in trying to add a second field goal at the end of the second quarter. They had that one ping off the post after seeing not one but two passing touchdowns walked back because of penalty flags. And flags in this game, wouldn't you know it, Warren, actually go more so against the Rams than the Huskers. 6 penalties for 50 yards against for Langley, just 2 for 20 for Valley, but 2 coming at very, very inopportune times.
That's always the timing of the penalties, even more than the quantity that matters. And maybe the wind also playing a role in Area and his punting too, as he's had some real short ones in this game.
Speaking of Tato Area, he will kick this one off to get the second half started, and it'll bounce at about the 27 before it's gathered in by the Huskers return team, who couldn't go very far with it. I believe that's number 15, David Coronado, with a pickup of maybe 3 or 4.
Huskers very lucky. You'll see this, it bounces, actually hits the blocker, number 48, up in front. And if the Langley Rams had been about 2 feet closer, that's a turnover right there. Is very fortunate. Hit Jesse Huff, and the Huskers quickly jumped on that.
And I believe they're going to call this one for...
Yeah, it was a no yards because everybody was gathered around again.
But are they going to kick this one away again, actually? Because they've put it back into the hands of Aria.
Number 8 Rams on the kickoff. Re-kick.
They will re-kick this one. An offsides call going against Dawson Morin of the Rams. And that will be a 7th penalty flag against Langley.
You know, Coach Philpott is not enjoying that stat one iota.
In fact, those penalty yards might be a reason why net yardage in the opening half actually favored the Valley Huskers. Not by much, but Valley with a net yards total of 140 at the half versus just 131 for the Rams. And the Huskers adding to that total on a big return right here, as finally hauled down is Dylan Minocha, but not before he brings the ball all the way back to the 50, and the Huskers will start this drive with some solid field position as a result.
Started with, I believe it was Coronado, picked it up first, and a quick little pitch over, looking like a little deception. Rams kind of gathered themselves together, though, in a hurry to shift their attention over to the right side and limit what Minocha can do.
As the Huskers will begin this drive from their own 49, just shy of the 50. Jansen with the handoff into the waiting hands of who else but Reese White. He'll try to cut up the middle, but he's wrapped up and hauled down by big number 77 for the Rams. That's Hader Syed.
He's only going to get maybe 3 if they're feeling generous on the play. And credit those 2 Rams defenders, number 77 in there on the play, and that's Hayden Syed again. We've called his name a number of times today, doing a good job penetrating the offensive line and stopping White from getting a big gain.
Luca Brown, big number 49, the other defender in that mix, as we got a good look at it on the replay. Thanks to the folks at For the Win, who always do such a great production job with these games. Is 2nd and 8 now for this Huskers offense. Jansen with the pass complete into the hands of who else but number 1, Reese White, who is finally brought down, but I believe that will move the sticks for a fresh set of downs. White getting about 9 yards, and he only needed 8 for a fresh set.
Moses, so what a fantastic job. Fought off the blocker and was able to stop White, because if he turns that corner, he's picking up probably another 10 yards on that play.
Gonna spot this one at the 50, but they will move the chains. So 1st and 10 inside Langley territory now. The Huskers desperate to find the end zone after they were denied not once but twice by a pair of penalty flags in the final seconds of the second quarter. And the ball right back in the hands of Reese White yet again. This time he's rushing out to the right side all the way to that far sideline before he's taken down, following a gain of maybe 6 or 7 yards on that carry.
This one's going to come back, though. I think it was holding on the play they're going to call.
Take a listen. In the wind tunnel yet again, as the officials just sound like they're in the middle of a hurricane every time they turn their microphones on.
Good thing I don't have stripes, because I was wrong.
Unnecessary roughness, block below the waist, Rams number 6, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Penalty going against Keegan Vickland for Langley.
The former Husker came out of Bateman secondary in Abbotsford and played a year for the Huskers, maybe 2, and then made the switch over to Langley.
And that will march this one way downfield now. The Huskers on the 27 inside Langley territory as Jansen will hand the ball off yet again. This time
Andrew Locke.
To Andrew Locke, and it's yet another diminutive back for the Huskers, looking very similar to Reese White.
The difference with him, Locke is really built low to the ground. He's got a low center of gravity. He's kind of a second down back mostly, likes to block up front a lot too.
Pickup of about 5 on that carry. Maybe 4. We'll bring up 2nd and 6.
Rams look like they're showing a little bit of pressure here, trying to bring the heat on Jansen.
A little over 2.5 minutes gone here in the second half. Some confusion perhaps from the Huskers. Finally get this play going. Jansen with the arm looking downfield into the end zone, and that one overthrown yet again as he was looking for number 3, Dag Mora.
Huskers coming off the bye week, and it looks like the timing a little bit off between the receiver and the quarterback there. And on top of that, you've got 2 very good defensive backs, number 5, Clausen, and number 15, Balucos, 2 of the leaders on this defense, doing a good job. Some other, if he had a chance to catch it, they would have been right there too.
And I suppose it's a good sign if you are a Huskers fan that Jansen looks like he's continually overthrowing at the moment. Better that than underthrowing, because he certainly has the power to find the house. And now it's another big strike. This one is complete into the waiting hands of number 88, Reese Morrison. And that will bring the Huskers inside the red zone, inside the 10-yard line rather. That'll bring up 1st and goal from the 8.
Ironically, back to that point, though, it seems like every time that Jansen's underthrown, his receivers have made him look good by making a reception. And so maybe he does want to start underthrowing a little bit more. Yeah, the touch has been a bit heavy. Rams haven't mind that at all, though, because a couple of touchdowns have been wiped out because of that.
Touchdowns to Peyton Lake as well as Dag Mora got called back by penalty flags to end that second quarter. This time he puts the ball into the hands of Reese White, and White still on his feet is dodging all kinds of tackles as he runs to the far sideline, finally wrapped up and brought down Reese White for a pickup of maybe 3 yards.
Channeling his inner Barry Sanders, I think there was about 3 tacklers thought they had him wrapped up, and he just stiff-armed them both off. And finally, good job by Mr. Reliable Clausen, getting a hand on him first and waiting for a little help to arrive.
And maybe a gain of 3 yards in terms of north-south, but east-west, it looked like he ran a good 40.
Well, that play looked dead a little closer to the line of scrimmage, and really that was one man, not yards after catch, but I guess run after catch. Would that be a rack?
Just able to dodge all kinds of tackles. It looked like a comedy of errors. You could put all kinds of sound effects on the replay of that one. Oil slicks, banana peels, so on, etc.
So Isaiah Latander with the big penalty will march the Huskers back further.
And this is a recurring theme, Warren, as it seems like every single time the Huskers have been able to get inside the red zone, penalty flags have walked them right back out of it. And that's the case yet again, as they will pick up this drive. It's a 2nd and goal now from the 22. Jansen feels the pressure coming, will roll out to the right side and put the ball in the air. He's looking into the end zone, and it is complete. This time the touchdown is good. And that one finds the hands of Dylan Minocha in the end zone. His 3rd passing TD of the game for Josh Jansen. And finally, it's the first one that'll actually count.
Well, I mentioned the start of the 3rd quarter, the guy they were going to look towards was that leader, that veteran receiver, Dylan Minocha, and he comes up big for them here. And now the question is, how do the Rams respond to this touchdown?
As we have been missing a little bit of urgency, perhaps, in the Langley game. And as you said, in the tail end of that first half, Warren, it seemed like both of these teams came out just gunning in the first few minutes of the first quarter. It seemed like this was going to be, you know, a 49-42 sort of final score between two offenses that were cooking with gas. That has not been the story of the game so far. But the Huskers finally getting their first touchdown of this one inside the first 5 minutes of the third quarter, and it's Valley who take their first lead of the game up 10-7.
If the wind is right, if you're Coach Philpott, I think you got to let Trey Jones, if he's still at quarterback, test out that arm and go long. Try to get some big yardage, try to get a little momentum going. If you continue to nickel and dime, I think you're keeping the Huskers right where they want to be.
We saw a lot of backup quarterback Hunter Norman in last week's action. Not the case so far this week, anyways, as Tristan Secord Yancey came off the bench to pick up some short yards and move the chains in 3rd and inches situations. But thus far, really, it has been Trey Jones's game at QB for the Rams, and you have to think that will continue here in the second half.
The other thing we haven't seen as much of, and they had so much success with it, with him using his legs. You know, drop a few more plays to get him out there, use that athleticism and pick up a few first downs and get that offense rolling.
And in fact, as we look at the rushing leaders at the half, rushing leader for the Valley Huskers, no surprise, number 1, Reese White, 12 carries, 47 yards. But the rushing leader for the Langley Rams through that opening half was the quarterback, number 11, Trey Jones, who had 34 yards on 3 carries, including 1 touchdown. As the kick return team will run into a wall, and that's Ryan Gosen yet again, who's wrapped up at the 32.
Picked up a nice 15 yards after kind of fumbling the ball at first and waited for the blocks to set up, but just ran into too many green jerseys. Decent field position for Jones on the offense to get going here, setting up at the 32-yard line. They've got to make a statement early here, though, in this drive. I really believe so.
Leading receiver for the Rams at the half with just 1 catch, Beckham Dickey, who had 45 yards on that long bomb to set up Trey Jones's touchdown. We'll see what Jones elects to do here. He'll hand the ball off on first down into the waiting hands of Derek Best, and Best will come up just shy of the first down. That's a pickup of about 9 yards on the opening play of the drive, but we do have a flag on the field. And it looks like
that's a real shame for the Rams if it's coming back, because Best starting to assert himself. He's one of those north-south runners. He's big, he gets low, keeps those legs grinding.
Number 55 on the offense. First down.
And indeed, that is a holding penalty against the Rams. Zach Rowan, the penalized player, will walk that one all the way back. It's a repeat of first down with a 10-yard penalty. So 1st and 20, and after a pretty successful run from Derek Best, you have to think that Trey Jones is going to be looking to the air to make up some yards on this one. Jones in the pocket. Receivers in motion in the backfield. Will take the snap. Pitch it into the hands of Derek Best, and we got flags on the field yet again, and Best, oh my! What a carry, his best of the day by far. And if it's not negated by penalty flags, he's going to move the chains for a first down. But I do have a feeling this is coming all the way back yet again.
Well, it's a matter of who jumped first, because I looked at both sides, and both sides, once again, a little itchy to get going here. Depends on which referee saw which side flinch.
So we have quite a powwow at the moment amongst the officials.
Yeah, and I thought it was the Huskers that jumped a millisecond before the Rams did, and that was a free play for Best, but boy, he looked awfully good. 2 consecutive
Offside
carries, he's looked
on
good.
the defense. Penalties declined. First down.
Sounds like days of thunder down there on the field with the wind gusting into the referee's microphone.
And what an impressive run for Derek Best. With a pickup of 20 yards, I think that should put him into rushing leader territory. As we said, rushing leader at the half for the Rams was the quarterback, Trey Jones, with 34 yards. Best just had 20 on that carry alone. And it's another pitch into the hands of Derek Best, but he runs up against his own man in the backfield. A malfunction at the junction as Best collided with Colton DeJong and won't get very far past the line of scrimmage. Maybe a pickup of 1 on the carry.
Well, it's a shame for the Rams, too, because I think they really want to use the run to set up the pass. And it's unfortunate when you run into your own blocker who's just out there trying to do their best.
And my apologies to Colton DeJong. He was in the backfield. It's part of that mix, but the body that Derek Best actually ran into was big number 66, Nikos Lazarakis.
Lazarakis, I like that.
2nd and 8 for Trey Jones. Can he find the end zone for a second touchdown here this afternoon? Jones gets the pass away, was looking for Alex France, but that one just a little bit out of his reach. And that will fall harmlessly incomplete to bring up a 3rd down situation, which you have to think means that Tato Aria is going to be back out there to kick this one away.
I believe one of the receivers kind of slipped on the way, too, and that's why that play looked so disjointed by the time it reached where it was supposed to go. A little unfortunate for the Rams, though, as this drive stalls. And they'll have to kick it back, and the Huskers starting to feel a little momentum here after scoring that touchdown and then holding the Rams to inside their own half.
Aria set to take the snap way back at the 30.
There's a flag. Remember the good old days? What was it, the first 10 minutes of the quarter? We didn't see one orange flag. And I guess they were stockpiling them up like a squirrel for winter with nuts.
It's a similar story last week as well, as the Rams made it through pretty well the entirety of the first half without seeing hardly any penalty flags whatsoever.
Although they won't mind this one, though, because this one's against the Huskers.
5-yard penalty against Valley will walk the ball forward to about the 51, but it's still 3rd down. Just moves Tato Aria a little bit forward as he will now kick this one away from the 35 as opposed to the 30.
And we see Manocha's replaced Rolock in terms of punt returning here.
Oh, they're going to fake it.
And there's a 1st down, and the Rams needed that. They needed that trick play. Nice job by the coaching staff drawing that up, and good play by number 22.
Cairo Hassan with the carry
executing
that will move
it.
the chains. And I bid on that fake
Oh.
up here in the booth, so I can only imagine how the defense felt on the field. Trick play for Langley that will keep the ball in the hands of Trey Jones as this drive continues. And they're inside the Valley side of the field now as well.
That's just real good coaching because, yeah, that Rams not known, you would know better than me, but not known for a lot of trick plays on 3rd down. And so they pulled out at the right time.
1st and 10 from the 53. Hand off into the hands of Derek Best, but he will hit the line and have nowhere to go, really.
It is an absolute war zone between the trenches and bodies flying and flailing, and only the strong survive, and Flynn gets in more of a body check than a tackle on that play. Took down Big Best.
Diving gore, almost, it looked like. But a stop, nevertheless.
A very small gain. We're looking at maybe a yard on that play.
After Best had picked up 20 earlier in this drive. On the biggest rushing play of the game, save for that 7-yard touchdown for the quarterback, Trey Jones, who's got the ball in the pocket right now, is going to be sent scrambling. He feels the pressure coming. Will elect to hang on to this one, but can't make it all the way to the sideline. running east-west, did not pick up much at all, but able to avoid getting sacked for a loss, and that has to count for something.
Huskers defenders looking like piranhas. The first one arrived, and then another one, and then another one, and Jones, before you know it, had to make his way to the sidelines, and things just broke down with the receivers and the defensive backs, and you have to wonder, we talked about it, maybe the wind playing a little havoc in terms of how far he thinks he can test his arm.
Like Robert De Niro and Val Kilmer before him, Trey Jones feeling the heat coming from around the corner.
Good reference. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
And a long kick downfield for Aria. This time will hit it about the 30 as that one bounced and was quickly touched by Darren Baker for the Rams.
Wrong sport. Baker thinking he's playing rugby, I think, picking the ball off the hop.
Didn't even wait for the Huskers to get a hand on that one. Whoopsie daisy. As that is going to somewhat negate the success of that kick for Tato Aria, one of his better looking punts of the day.
No yards, number 15, Rams. 15-yard penalty, first down.
15-yard penalty for no yards, going to walk this up to about the 45. Huskers beginning this drive from inside their own end.
And the Rams giving more gifts than Santa at Christmas. It's all these penalties are giving the Huskers great field position to start each and every drive.
And that has been a consistent storyline for this Langley team all season long. Certainly nearly cost them last week as they trail by 3 with under 6 minutes to play here in the third quarter. And a big carry on first down. Looks like it's going to come up just shy of moving the chains, but second in inches after a huge carry for the Huskers.
Credit the offensive line of the Huskers here. They opened that hole. It was gaping before the Rams could close things up. And number 5, once again, Clausen, the man in there, putting a stop to things. But they're going to need a few more Rams that aren't named Clausen or Barron to step up if they want to turn the momentum of the second half.
Reese White doing damage yet again, and they put the ball right back into his hands. It's a huge carry as he's finally brought down inside the 35, but that will move the chains and then some. A carry of just shy of 20 yards for White, and he only needed 1 to bring up a fresh set of downs.
Rams do not want to let a guy like White could get a lot of confidence going on back-to-back runs. They're going to have to close up quickly, maybe bring a little more pressure up front. Rush 6, maybe 7 in there if it looks like they're going to run the ball, because otherwise White could play a little havoc once he gets past the initial line of scrimmage.
Jansen takes the snap, will hand it right off to White yet again, right up the middle, and again he'll pick up nearly 5 on the play.
Oh, well over 500 yards on the season now for Reese White in his second season. Didn't play much last year though, and now we see a member of the Rams, number 49, it looks like Luca Brown taking a knee.
Shades of Andrew Pokernich almost for Reese White in this game. He was a star, just absolute stud running back for the Rams a few years back. We called him Mr. Automatic because you put that ball in his hands, you're getting 7 yards on pretty well every single carry, and that has been something of the story for Reese White in this game as well. Maybe a couple times where he's been stopped up at the line of scrimmage, but pretty well 5 yards at least every single time they put the ball in his hands.
Well, you know what, he kind of came out of nowhere really, unless you were with the team, because Brandon O'Connor was the name that they were looking at, the big 6'2" back out of Jamaica. Often injured though in his 2 years with the Huskers, and all of a sudden out of nowhere, Wyke, who was primarily used on special teams as a punt returner, kick returner, just exploded on the scene this year.
One of the reasons why this has been a big turnaround season for the Valley Huskers, no doubt. As Jansen takes the snap, bit of a low snap, but he's able to recover the ball and just will put that one away.
That's just a great job by the Rams. They brought the house. They brought a lot of pressure. He could see this play was going nowhere. Jansen was forced to just throw it away as they loaded everybody up in the box to keep the blue shirts from swarming in on their quarterback.
Dag Mora, the intended receiver, but I don't know how intended that reception actually was. It looked like Jansen was just eager to make sure that one did not result in a sack for a loss of yards.
I mean, as much pressure as we've seen both defensive lines have, we haven't seen a lot of sacks yet. They haven't gotten to the quarterback till after the line of scrimmage, other than maybe 1 or 2 times.
They're going to go for it here on 3rd down. Jansen looking down the field. Can he find the end zone? Just overthrown again, but this time by a matter of inches, as Ethan Porter got his fingers on that ball, but not quite enough to gather it in.
And the Rams will breathe a heavy sigh of relief because that was a nice throw by Jansen. And I think the intended receiver, Porter, slowed up ever so slightly near the goalposts. And if he had kept running the route, that might be another 7 on the board.
As we've talked about a few times, it's not as though Josh Jansen has had a lack of success in finding the end zone today. He's just had 2 of his touchdown passes negated by penalty flags, but it's a turnover on downs that'll put the ball back in the hands of Trey Jones and the Langley Rams. We'll start this drive from their own 29. 1st and 10 as Jones takes a low snap. He's looking skyward, gets that ball away, and it's intercepted. Goes right into the hands of Shane Claridge, and it's Claridge who continues to run it downfield.
And you know what, Justin, I was wondering how much more of a leash Jones is going to have, and I think after that pick, we may be seeing Yansu come into the game next time the Rams have possession.
It could be Hunter Norman, however. That is who the Rams went to.
Or Hunter Norman.
When Trey Jones got the yank last week, but a tough end to his day if that is the last we see of Jones at quarterback this afternoon. Picked off by Shane Claridge, and as we see it again on the replay, Claridge just with all kinds of room to run before he was finally hauled down by the running back, Cairo Hassan.
And that was underthrown by about 5-6 yards to Ghosten, the intended target.
And we have an injured Ram still down on the field as the Huskers set to begin this drive from the 11 inside Langley territory.
And don't be surprised if they put the ball in the hands of number 1 once again, who had 3 touchdowns against the Kodiaks in the last home game for the Huskers.
Reese Wyke has been the straw that stirs the drink here offensively for Valley throughout this game, though it has been a pretty solid performance at quarterback for Josh Jansen as well.
And you know what, watching the replay, offensive line did a nice job of giving Jones the time to look. He was just underthrown, and the result is it's back the other way for the Huskers.
An unforced turnover was the end of the day for Trey Jones last week as well, as he just brought the ball back on his throwing motion, and it popped out of his hands for a fumble. Last week was how his day came to an end, and this time it's an underthrown ball leading to an interception. But who knows? We may see more of Trey Jones before this day is done.
Is that Rohan Sharma, 57, or 52, Landon Sommers?
I believe that is Landon Sommers being helped off the field by his teammates.
You know, and I would like to see, just as an outside observer, you'd love to see Jones be able to use the tools that he's given. He's such an athletic quarterback. Maybe when the play isn't working, use those legs to pick up those first downs, to create a little havoc for the defensive backs.
We did see that a few times in the first half, certainly.
But, you know, if you step away from that, then that's what happens there. You underthrow the ball, and Huskers in prime pouncing position here late in the 3rd quarter.
Play back underway. Josh Jansen set to take the snap. He'll hand the ball off to who else? Reese Wyke. Wyke along the right side, finally pushed out at around the 9, so maybe a pickup of 2 yards on that play.
Flag on the field, though. We'll see. Was it the Rams offside, or was it the Huskers jumping the gun?
Looks like it's going to be an offside call against the defense, rather. We'll wait and get the announcement from the officials here. Head back inside the wind tunnel for this announcement. Oh, there it is.
Where's Tom?
Side, number 3, Rams. 1st down repeated. Or 2nd down.
Michael Bachuch offside for the Langley defense.
Huskers really trying to wear down this Rams front 7 by continuing to give the ball to Wyke with a little dash of Locke in there.
So it's a repeat of first down from the 6 now. And if the Huskers can get it to the 1, they'll get a fresh set. They won't need it, however, as the pass is complete. Another passing touchdown for Josh Jansen, as this time he's complete to number 6, Dayton Smythe, and this one will count. A second consecutive touchdown for the road team.
Oh, you talked about it at the end of the second quarter, Justin, just the fact that they were playing with fire. Taking penalties, allowing the receivers to get open. There's a receiver once again around a nice little route, but where were the defenders around them?
One of the things we talked about heading into the half, in fact, the fact that Langley was lucky to still be ahead at the break, and they could not let that luck go to waste. That looks like exactly what they are doing thus far this afternoon, as it's been 2 consecutive touchdowns here in the third quarter for the Valley Huskers, and what was a 4-point lead for the Rams at the half is now a 10-point deficit. Valley up 17-7.
See, though, if they do make the change at quarterback, and maybe that provides a little spark for the Rams, they are only down by 10. There's still well over a quarter to go. They are at home, so we'll see if this crowd can also spur them on. They've been loud at points, and another good-looking crowd here, McLeod Athletic Park again.
I don't know, though, if they're going to find some extra juice in a quarterback change. I think even with his difficulties so far this afternoon, Trey Jones is likely your best bet to get you back into this thing if you trust him to do it. I didn't see it.
Does Coach Philpott trust him enough to do it, though?
That's the big question, of course. And you're right, he does have to earn the trust of that coaching staff. As we're back underway, a long kick that just evaded the grasp of Cairo Hassan, who nearly slipped inside of his own end zone, but has a lot of running to do to try and get back to the 20, as he's hauled down at about the 13, well inside his own end.
You will never try harder to make something out of nothing than if you're the guy that kind of makes an oopsie down there. And he did a great job recovering, because he could have easily had the Rams starting on their own 1 or 2. But credit Hassan for fighting through a difficult decision and making his way up and at least getting him out of the shadow of the goal line.
And what a boot as well from Aiden Saunders. Quite the leg to pin the Rams deep inside their own zone to begin this drive. A little over 2 minutes to go here in the third quarter, as it is Trey Jones who will continue at quarterback.
You know, I like this move, because I think, you know what, you eventually got to stick with someone. Young guys are going to make mistakes. Hopefully they're learning lessons. And as you mentioned, he's the guy with the most potential to help them claw their way back.
And I am nodding along in agreement like a bobblehead up here in the booth.
We need a Justin Morissette bobblehead night here.
The folks cannot. The folks at home can't see the way I'm just intently agreeing with every single thing that you just said, Warren. Give Trey Jones the chance to redeem himself. Absolutely. This is a very talented young man, and we'll see what he can engineer on this drive. 2nd and 4 from his own 20. As he'll pass the ball off yet again.
It's bad key. It looks like, was that 22? Yeah.
That is actually Cairo
Oh,
Hassan,
pardon me. I'm looking at the wrong roster. Hassan,
who really was the key running back for this Rams offense in last week's action. Derek Best has probably been the #1 guy here today, but this is a Rams offense that does have some options in that backfield. And no matter which way you want to go, you do have some quality to carry that ball. Though it looks as though, is there a flag on that play? I'm not sure, but.
Well, it might be a second chance for that. Looks like they're ready to punt it anyways. So.
Yeah, it is 3rd down, 3rd and 5.
Yeah, they picked up 1 yard on. I think they lost a yard on the play. I think it was
that is
2nd and 4.
That's the explanation. I missed the spot on that ball as Aria's kick touches down at about the 37, but bounces the wrong way.
what's been killing him on the kicking game, honestly, the short kicks maybe kicking into the wind, but the bounce has not gone the Rams' way any time today, and that's also add another 5 yards with the penalty.
And I think the wind is somewhat responsible for that as well, Warren, as if you look at the way the flags are blowing here at McLeod today, it's all going against the way Aria's been kicking, which may be a reason why the ball is bouncing back the way the wind is blowing. As earlier in this quarter, I think I credited the return game of the Huskers with picking up 5 yards on the carry, but really all of those yards came off the bounce itself.
Well, you know what? I think if you are looking at key moments in this game, this defensive stand by the Rams, this could make or break this game, in my opinion. I know we still got a full quarter to go. They've got to stop the Huskers from getting more points on the board, especially a major, if they want to entertain any thoughts of getting back in this thing.
And when it is all said and done, an offside call going against Langley in addition to a short punt. This is not good field position to give up to start the drive. Valley inside enemy territory, taking this first snap at the 26. Josh Jansen will take the snap and hand that ball off to Reese Wyke. Wyke gets back to the line, maybe a gain of 2 on the play, but minimal.
Now Wyke lowers the shoulders, waited for a bit of a hole to open, but then the big number 99, Cade Manuel South, went north instead and met him and stopped him for a very short gain. They're going to need more plays like that. And I really think this defense has got to step up and try to make a play to try to turn this tide.
Manuel South, one of 4 Rams who wrapped up Reese Wyke on that tackle, as it was a group effort. As this time Josh Jansen with a bit of a pick right back to who else? Reese Wyke once again, and he's upended. Perhaps just shy of the first down, but I think he got enough to move the sticks.
Yeah, I think as he got launched in the air, he landed down right around the 15-yard line. And that'll be the end of the quarter.
Needed to get to the 16 for a fresh set of downs. I believe he has done that. But they will move the sticks regardless, as yes, it is the end of quarter number 3 here from beautiful McLeod Athletic Park in the township of Langley. Justin Morissette with Warren Andrews bringing you the call on the game here today. Jake Elliott on assignment, doing a little lacrosse action this afternoon.
President's Cup, isn't it what he's doing? Senior B?
Yeah, I believe so. But we are happy to be here in his absence nevertheless. Warren, you are, of course, the regular voice of the Valley Huskers, so very familiar with the team that Langley lines up across from today here at the very first annual Cascade Cup. Brought to you by Sublimation Squad. If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. If you play good, you win. That is the motto at Sublimation Squad. Only going to prove true for one of these teams this afternoon, though they're both looking pretty good in their uniforms, I have to say. 2
very sharp uniforms. Yeah, a bit of a paid mercenary, I feel like, today here after 6 years with the Huskers. But I am with the Rams today here as they're looking to make a comeback.
As it is the Huskers offense going right back to work. Handoff into the waiting hands of, was that Reese Wyke yet again? Indeed it was. And he did get enough for a fresh set of downs on the final play of the third quarter. How much did he pick up here? I believe maybe just 2. 2nd and 8, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, he's one of those backs that doesn't seem to ever tire. He seems to actually get better the more carries you give him, and he's been really grinding it out here at the end of the third quarter, heading into the fourth quarter.
Josh Andrews perhaps looking to throw into the end zone, as he's done quite a few times already today, even if only 2 of his 4 touchdown passes have counted. And this time, the ball bounces off the field goal post. Wow, I don't know that I've ever seen that.
That's the second time the goalposts have saved the Rams bacon. It was a field goal earlier and then a pass to a wide open receiver. In fact, he could have had a lawn chair and a sandwich. That's how open he was, but it hits the goalposts and no touchdown.
We'll see if we can take another look at that on the replay here on BCFC TV. Jansen with a clear shot to the end zone. Wow. Wow, that would have been Luke Rodriguez, but instead, the post coming up with a big INT.
And if you are Jansen, the saddest part is you took the hit to make the play. You thought this is a touchdown because the Rams rushed a few extra bodies, got in there. They'll pick up some points, though, and extend the lead.
Instead, they will have to settle for the field goal, but it is good through the uprights, and it's a 13-point lead on the board for Valley here at McLeod, which can't imagine saying that, Warren, even just a few short years ago.
Absolutely not. I think in 6 years doing Husker games, I did another year just covering their blog, and it was always the Rams running away. Occasionally you had some lower scoring games, but it's been much different. But you're going to get that after consecutive championship seasons for the Langley Rams. You've got to eventually retool as these veteran leaders move on, and these are all learning moments for these young Ram players that you hope will continue the legacy that's been passed on to them.
And you have to hope, if you are a Rams fan here at McLeod Athletic Park today, that the Langley offense can muster something of a pushback here, as their lone touchdown, the only points they've got on the board all day long, came early in the first quarter. And since then, it's been all Huskers up on the big board. 20-7, Valley leads a little over a minute into the fourth quarter.
Clausen's actually been the best statistical kick returner they've had.
And Ryan Gosen saw the ball evade his grasp this time. A similar story to what happened to Cairo Hassan at the other end back in the third quarter. A comedy of errors right now on kick return for Langley, as Gosen's hauled down at about the 15, but he would have liked a lot more than that.
It's been an upside down world, because remember in the first quarter it was the Rams with great field position.
Right now, however, it looks like a flag on the play is going to negate that kick and give Ryan Gosen another shot at this one.
Number 22 in Husker. Re-kick.
As Zach Badke gets whistled for the offside, and the Huskers will have to re-kick. Nobody happier about that than Ryan Gosen.
Absolutely, because yeah, that was, as you mentioned, it was a comedy of errors there, and they'll want this one to be a little bit cleaner. Saunders has had maybe a bit more on his leg than Area has in this game, so give him a second time to do it, and maybe he kind of pooches it.
This time, Aiden Saunders going to have to boot this one away from the 40, but as you mentioned, he has had an enormous amount of power in his foot all afternoon long. Can he do it again? It's Cairo Hassan and Ryan Gosen lined up as the returners. Bit of a bouncer, but it's gathered in by Gosen, and this time, oh wow, he finds a big gap and keeps going. Finally hauled down at the 51, but he's inside enemy territory. What a return for Ryan Gosen as we take another look at it right here.
Now, if you're the Rams, is exactly what you wanted. He waited for the blockers to set up. He shot straight through it and then wheeled himself probably about 3 or 4 more extra yards after being tackled. And the Rams are going to need that. They're going to need those heroes to step up and make the plays to get themselves back in this game, a game they led early on.
And Warren, you talked about Reese Wyke really auditioning for his current role on the Huskers offense by being their star kick returner. Ryan Gosen perhaps finding himself in a similar situation, auditioning to be a more important back in this Langley offense. But right now, it's the quarterback who's in trouble, as he just had to throw that one away. Trey Jones feeling all kinds of pressure in the pocket.
Well, it was James Moore once again eluding the grasp of the offensive tackles and really caught Trey Jones on an island, and a smart play from the young quarterback there to just throw it away, reset, and look to get things going.
James Moore walking in almost completely unimpeded, like there was no man to beat for him to get into that backfield. But Trey Jones just able to get that ball away harmlessly. Will bring up a 2nd and 10 situation, but you have to think he's going to look to pass once more here on 2nd down. Jones takes the snap, fakes the handoff, looking downfield. It's a long bomb, and it is incomplete as he was looking to connect with Terrell Jones. But there is a flag on the play, and it could be for pass interference.
Yeah, I think Chavis Spencer's going to get nabbed on this for the Huskers. Hand fighting once again down the field, but you can only be allowed to do so much. And if the receiver's down on the turf, chances are that flag is going against the defenders. Was that key? Thomas Box, who was a receiver, was that number 7?
It was number 2.
Oh, number 2.
Jones. Tough to read the jersey, though.
Defensive pass interference, number 11 on the Huskers, 15-yard penalty, first down.
And that is a big PI call, one of the only ones that we've seen so far today. Because I believe there might have been a pass interference call against the Rams back in the second quarter.
It's been, very few and far between. Far more offside or holding penalties than PIs, but Jones to the big touchdown, I believe it was last week against the Vancouver Island Raiders, and trying that same magic again here.
It's Trey Jones taking the snap. Will put the ball downfield once again. Pass complete. Connecting with Tato Aria. He's more than just a boot, a talented receiver as well. Had the biggest catch of the game for the Rams the last time they met the Huskers. This time, it is a reception that will move the chains and bring up a fresh set of downs for this Langley offense.
Well, what I like about that throw is Jones put it where only Aria was going to get it, and Aria knew he was going to have to pay the price a bit, but he did. He stayed in there, braced for the hit, a big first down for the Rams.
Drive continues from just outside the 20. Jones takes the snap. Gonna pass again, looking to the end zone, and it's just overthrown as he was trying to connect with number 80, Beckham Dickey, who's come up with some big grabs for this Langley offense this season, but just could not gather that one in.
I believe he was the leading receiver against the Raiders in the win here. I think he had 3 in that one. You wonder if he kind of lost sight of it in the shadow of the goalpost there as it split the uprights, but wasn't a field goal, so didn't count for 3.
No, and I think Trey Jones just counting his lucky stars that he was able to thread it through the uprights instead of pinging off the post like we saw at the other end not that long ago.
Now, this could be a big loss for the Huskers if he's injured. James Moore on the turf did lose some time last year to injury, and he really is one of the engines that makes this Huskers defense go. He's got the sack already in this game and lots of other pressure, and he has come up limping, and that's a big loss for Bob Reese and company.
One of the most mentioned names on this Huskers defense in terms of us up here in the broadcast booth, and a big loss, yes, as he can barely make his way off the field, being helped by a couple of teammates, is having a hard time putting any pressure on those legs.
Real student of the game, and said the other thing, other than studying Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in the COVID year, he also read the book basically helping defenders become better by Craig Rowe, a longtime CFL player, and he kind of studied that almost like his Bible and came into the last 2 seasons trying to make a difference in his senior years. But won't make much of a difference, unfortunately, on the sidelines for them. And for the Rams, maybe a little more time opens up for Jones to create some more magic.
Wonder if that's a left ankle injury, given the way he is stepping a bit gingerly towards that sideline, not wanting to put much weight in those steps, but hate to speculate.
And you like to see that game recognizing game as France comes over and gives them a little pat, because as much as these guys are fierce on the field, they're all part of one big football family, and you hate to see somebody go down, especially somebody talented.
And these are players, I'm sure, that have been facing off against each other and together on different teams.
Absolutely.
You know, going back for more than a decade now at this stage of their football careers.
Big down here for Jones. Second down on the 20.
2nd and 10. As Jones going to pass this one away. It's a short pass, but it is complete to Derek Best. And Best will find the end zone. Derek Best with a huge touchdown for Langley to make this game close again. Only 7 points separating these two teams with just under 12 minutes left to play.
Well, you know what? He's rewarded for being the best player here in the second half for these Rams. He's had a couple of big runs wiped out by penalties, and you like to see people that put in the hard work get rewarded, and he was there.
And smart thinking as well in drawing up that play to give Trey Jones a short passing option. If you find nothing available to you downfield, if everybody's covered in the end zone, just throw it about 4 yards and trust your guys to come up with those yards after the catch. And that is exactly what Derek Best did, yakking it up all the way to the end zone.
I think Jones liked the fact he didn't have James Moore breathing in his ear as he made the throw. So that could be a real turning point in this game.
Absolutely. Plenty of time for that to prove to be a factor with less than 12 minutes left to play.
Most importantly, we got a rivalry game. We got a one-score game in the fourth quarter. If you're a football fan, you got to love this.
And if you're the BCFC, you really could not have asked for more in the first ever Cascade Cup between these two teams.
On TELUS, anyone's watching it at home if they're a TELUS subscriber.
Of course, it is one of 2 BCFC talent games of the week this week.
Now are they going for 2? Oh, no, they're going to kick it.
The fans at home not wanting to miss this big rivalry game between 2 lower mainland teams. As it is the BCFC on TELUS Game of the Week, brought to you by the BC Lions and eXp Realty 97 Way Home Real Estate Group in Kelowna and the Coast to Coast Real Estate Team in Nanaimo.
Now, I'm trying to remember if it was last year or just before COVID, but there was a game, they played a neutral site game in Abbotsford, and over 1,000 people packed Exhibition Park in Abbotsford. It was a great low-scoring game, though, once again. Rams came away with the win, but I don't know if there was more than one touchdown score between the two teams.
That was the story a few weeks ago back in Chilliwack as well, as you talked about the fact that the Rams offense was able to tear downfield almost at will, but just could not punch it through to the end zone.
That was a Wyke rushing touchdown, and Tyron Duvall, the second-string quarterback, punched it in for the 2 touchdowns. The Rams were so close. They came there, they had the field goal blocked, they got a couple of field goals, and then the single point on a missed field goal. That was the scoring for them in that game.
And this time, the Langley Rams opened the scoring in this one with a touchdown back in the first quarter. Trey Jones calling his own number at quarterback and able to find the house with a rushing TD to put the Rams up 7-0, but 20 consecutive points scored by the Huskers. And finally, Langley able to respond just moments ago with a passing touchdown that was really carried in by Derek Best on a short pass. Most of those yards coming after the catch, and that has made it a 6-point game. Once again, a pair of field goals for the Huskers proven to be the difference at this point. And what a long kick from Aria as this one's gathered in inside the Huskers end zone.
And really, you look back to that last drive, and it was the PI with Jones battling for that, and his brother, I believe it's his brother. Or is it his brother?
I'm not sure about that one.
I think I was reading a newspaper clipping, and Terrell Jones' younger brother came up in Lord Tweedsmuir also.
You might be right. There you go.
But anyway, great play, trusting him to throw it down there, and that really started this drive and got the Rams back in this game.
The Jones to Jones connection not able to come through with the catch, but a big penalty flag kept the drive alive. And Ken Valley put a little bit more distance now between the Huskers and the Rams with this drive that's going to begin from their own 20-yard line. Josh Jansen will hand the ball off to who else but Reese Wyke. Wyke going right up the middle, and he's able to find a hole where it looked like there was none. Just so impressive with his strength every single time he's got the ball in his hands.
Well, as a defender, it's got to be a little frustrating. You get that contact, you think you got him, and he somehow manages to squirt through like he bathed in margarine and picks up a couple more yards.
Even if you're not quite able to get the primary contact you're looking for, you think at the very least that you're slowing him up for a teammate to be able to make that big tackle. But unfortunately, there was just nobody in front of Reese Wyke to prevent him from continuing to go as he picks up 6 yards on that carry, 2nd and 4. And it's right back into the hands of Reese Wyke. This time he's tackled not by anybody wrapping him up, but rather that was the legs of Colton DeJong, who was down and out on that play, but managed to trip up the ball carrier as he rolled on the turf.
And that's a great play, and you'll see why, because they absolutely loaded the left side. And if they would have been able to sweep over to the left, I think Wyke had a nice path to pick up 10, maybe 15 yards. So good job by DeJong. Get any appendage in there and slow him up.
Only needed 4 yards to the first, but only came up with 1. That brings up 3rd and 3. And it looks like, barring a trick play, the Huskers will punt this one away. Valley, though, electing to call a timeout and talk things over here.
And you're better off doing that if you don't have the personnel you need out there. Use that timeout. Unfortunately for the Huskers, though, it may come later in the game where they need that timeout and it's already been burned.
Officials taking the opportunity to talk something over at the moment as well.
You see the Rams primed to have some excellent field position to start their next drive. Here's the number 12, Gosen, waits at about the center stripe, right by the City of Langley crest.
And Trey Jones, we were talking earlier in this game, looked like he might be yanked out of the action for a second consecutive week. They let him continue to play this one out and perhaps find some redemption as he's brought them within 6 points now. Can he get his third touchdown of the day? As this kick will find the waiting hands of Ryan Gosen, who will gather it in about the midfield mark. Gosen on the return is inside the 35, brought down at, I believe, the 32. And as you said, Warren, that is prime field position for the Rams to begin this drive with what they hope will result in the equalizing touchdown.
Almost feels like the momentum pendulum has swung over towards the Langley Rams side now, and see if they can continue to use Best. Get him the ball, whether they're handing it off or whether they are running with him. I think he's going to be key here in this fourth quarter.
1st and 10 from the 33. Trey Jones has time, gets that pass away, and it hit off the hands of his intended receiver and is picked off. Back come the Huskers the other way. It's Christopher Rolak, and he could go the distance. Finally brought down at the 14-yard line. Oh my, that was a pass that I believe was intended for number 24, Tato Aria. We'll see another look at it on the replay. But if he was looking for a number 24,
it was the wrong color.
Trey Jones found one. It just happened to be wearing the wrong jersey.
Well, I was looking for orange on the field. You always wonder on those big plays, is there a flag thrown? No flag thrown. So just a good read by Rolak. And a real dagger for the Rams as they look to build on the momentum that they had.
And my apologies to Aria. That was number 9, Alex France, who had that one bounce off of his hands.
And for Jones, that's got to feel, you never want a hat trick of sadness. Yeah, right off the hand. Yeah, I don't know if you can blame Jones on that one, as it really went in and out of the fingertips of France.
Josh Jansen will hand the ball off to Reese Wyke once again, and a pickup of about 3 or 4 yards on that carry. We'll see where they spot this ball. Right on the 10. So I believe that is actually on the 9 now, so I believe that's a pickup of 5.
Yeah, I wonder if Jansen's going to be a little gun shy here after hitting the post last time, maybe putting it in the hands of number 1.
He's thrown into the wind yet again as Jansen takes a long snap and will hand off to Reese Wyke once more. Wyke trying to cut up the middle. And I believe he just got stopped up by his own blockers.
Yeah, draw play right up there, and it was looking good. Blockers all set in front and a little too quick for his own good. He ran into Isaiah Latander.
If we can see one more look at the replay there, I missed the number on the Langley defender, but somebody got a hand into the feet of Reese Wyke as we take one more look at it.
Was that Clausen, number 5? Nope.
Diving effort along the ground right there. As I believe that was number 6, Keegan Vickland, who was able to make sure that Wyke was not able to take that one any further.
Atoning for a penalty that was costly early on. You like to see that.
As this time the Huskers will settle for a field goal, and that will go through the uprights to make this a 9-point game that favors Valley with less than 8 minutes left to play. Wow, what a turn of events.
Been a while since here at McLeod Athletic Park that the Huskers and Rams have been in a white knuckle affair, and it's been a good one so far. And every time you think one team's got momentum, the other team seems to steal it. So
the first ever Cascade Cup is up for grabs for the winners here today. And that Cascade Cup brought to you by the fine folks at Sublimation Squad. If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you play good. If you play good, you win. That is the motto behind Sublimation Squad, proud sponsors of the first annual Cascade Cup between the Valley Huskers and the Langley Rams. You're watching it all in the BCFC on TELUS. It's the game of the week, brought to you by the BC Lions and eXp Realty 97 Way Home Real Estate Group in Kelowna and the Coast to Coast Real Estate team in Nanaimo.
big shout out to our friend Blake Roberts in Kelowna. Kind of gives us our marching orders in terms of broadcasting.
As the kick is gathered in by Langley, and it's Joel Klassen who will take that one at about the 20, brought down at the 33. Klassen back out there on the kick return after the last few. It had been Cairo Hassan and Ryan Gosen.
You know what, and that's not a bad move because I was looking statistically, Klassen's done a great job. He had 3 returns for 82 yards, averaging 27 on each return. So, hey, if you've shown you can do that in the past, even in a limited amount, boy, why not go back to it?
Justin Morissette and Warren Andrews bringing you the call from McLeod Athletic Park today. And shouts to our friends at forthewin.ca as well, doing a great job providing the technical side of the broadcast. If you've been enjoying the replays all game long, I know I have been up here in the booth.
Hey, we'd love to hear from you too. And if you want to hit me up on Twitter, I'm at @some_sports guy. Whether you love us, whether you hate us, let us know where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you.
And I'm at Justin Morris. That's with 1 R and 1 S, Moris. Justin Morris on Twitter if you want to reach out and interact with the broadcast.
Always, one of the highlights of doing this is when you head down after the game and someone stops you in the stands and say, hey, I've been watching you from Manitoba, from Ontario. Really love what you're doing. That really kind of warms my heart, I know, Justin.
And we do have viewers from coast to coast, especially come playoff time. But a number of these players coming to us from outside of the Lower Mainland and have families watching from all over the continent as well. As pass complete there to Tato Aria.
And I think he's a receiver that really needs to get his groove going here because he can be a difference maker, and he's shown that in the past.
Pickup of 5 on that catch, I believe, maybe a little bit less.
The biggest thing for the Rams is the clock continues to tick. We're at 6.5. They've got to score rather quickly, then have a 3-and-out for the Huskers.
Langley desperately needing a touchdown here late in the 4th as a pass nearly complete to Beckham Dickey. But that one will hit the turf, I believe, as it looked like Valley nearly came up with yet another interception off a pass initially intended for Beckham Dickey.
And I don't know if he needs to invest in a little stickum or something because there's been a lot of juggling going on with some of these receivers. I don't know if you can put the blame on Jones's plate in terms of he's putting it there, and maybe they're not perfect throws, but they're there. And as a receiver, you're supposed to haul that in and secure it.
Beckham Dickey and Alex France having a little bit of trouble throughout the afternoon today, hanging on to some catchable footballs.
And the Huskers have some veteran ball hawks in the backfield. They're just waiting for that ball to pop up. The mascot trying to rev up the crowd.
And Tato Aria will put the boots on that one all the way down to the 40 before Beckham Dickey makes the big tackle and puts a stop to that kick return.
That Coronado had his bell rung a little bit there on a great individual tackle.
So Beckham Dickey perhaps a little bit frustrated that he wasn't able to make that reception moments ago. Able to get some of that frustration out of his system with a huge tackle as we take another look at it here.
Well, you know what? Nothing better than that, right? Things aren't going your way. If you get a chance to do it on defense, get that aggression out, you feel a little bit better.
It's the Huskers who are still in control, though. A 9-point lead with under 6 minutes left to play. As As Josh Jansen will take the snap, fake the handoff, and look skyward instead. He goes right down the middle, and this time it's Jansen's receiver who can't quite hang on to that one.
Is that Peyton Lake that needs to invest in some stickum himself? Because that was a nice throw.
I believe so, and if it is, that's the second consecutive incomplete pass attempt to a receiver.
No, that's 88.
Number 80. No,
Reese Morrison, we can't throw Peyton Lake under the bus.
No, we cannot. But a tough break nevertheless for Jansen, who looked like he had that one right on the target, as he will look skyward yet again in a 2nd and long from his own 49. Jansen, the lone man in the backfield, has all the time in the world, finally feels some pressure coming. The ball is away, it's complete, and the receiver pushed out of bounds. This time it's Peyton Lake along the sideline.
There you go, his ears were ringing. No, I don't think it was enough for a first down though, so.
I think that'll be probably about 3 yards shy of moving the sticks, and that will bring up 3rd and 3.
Good defensive play there by Keegan Vickland. Second time he's made a good defensive play here when they've needed him to in the 4th quarter.
Calling his name more and more the longer this game goes along, as he's the big reason why they were able to halt the Husker offense and hold them to just a field goal on their last drive instead of the touchdown, getting that hand into the feet of Reese Wyke.
I was looking for Gosen out there, but it looks like
That's Joel Klassen.
Klassen's going to be the man they'll hope can add to his average of 27 yards per kick return or punt return.
This punt from the 45 will hit the sidelines at about the 35 inside the Langley end.
Klassen putting a little fear of God in them. They won't even kick it to him. Now the question is, does Jones get another? Does he have more lives than a cat? There's my question.
I think they got to stay with him through the end of this one. I don't know at this stage of the game with a little under 5 minutes, or a little over 5 minutes left to play, that you're going to really get much more juice out of this offense if you switch it up and go to Hunter Norman. And indeed, it is Trey Jones who will take the snap to get this drive started.
Hey, you know what? You live and learn. You make some big plays. You make some mistakes. You learn from them. And they're going to the big man.
As he puts the ball in the hands of Derek Best to begin this drive, but Best not able to pick up much more, maybe a yard or two after he hit the line of scrimmage.
And look who's back out there, number 7, James Moore, who took a slight break, got his ankle taped up, it looks like, and he's back out there creating some havoc for the Valley Huskers.
And he looked to be in a world of hurt as he made his way slowly over to the sidelines early in this quarter. So you salute the heart of a warrior to come back and finish this one. James Moore.
He's a nice fella, but I would not want to meet him in a dark alley if he was in a bad mood.
It's Trey Jones set to take the snap in a 2nd and 7 situation. Just shy of his own 40-yard line. Jones will put the pass away to Aria out of the backfield. And I believe he will move the sticks on this one. Needed to get to the 45, and he's brought down at about the 48, if not 49. So that should be a fresh set of downs for the Langley Rams.
They needed that. Clock, though, continues to tick. They got to make a play, get it out of bounds, stop the clock, give themselves some more times to set up here.
It's actually closer than I thought as they spot that one at the 47, but it is enough to move the sticks. First down, Rams. And Trey Jones, as much as he has given his coaching staff a little bit more reason to believe in him as this second half has gone along, it probably means a lot to him as well to get that vote of confidence from the coaching staff and remain in this game to close it out, even if they're not able to come back and win this one in the end.
That went to Bachuch Michael on the throw, but it was thrown a little too inside, and the Husker defender had the best opportunity at it in Chavis Spencer.
That was Terrell Jones, actually, the intended
Terrell
receiver,
Jones.
number 2.
Number 2, you're right.
Not number 3, but it's tough to get a read on these things sometimes.
Or it's just old age in my part.
Yeah, we need
Numbers playing
binoculars
tricks on
up
me.
here up in the booth, especially as the sun goes down on a beautiful sunny day here at McLeod Athletic Park.
I try to keep it to about 8 grandparents cursing at me per broadcast for wrong pronunciations.
Justin Morissette and Warren Andrews up here in the broadcast booth. Feel free to get in touch with us if you like the job we're doing so far. Maybe keep it to yourself if you don't. As it's a successful carry for the Rams on this one. I believe put back into the hands of Tato Aria. Actually, that was Derek Best, number 34. And he will move the sticks once again, which has been a consistent story for Derek Best here, at least in the second half of this game. He has really come to life.
Well, you know what? A worst case scenario in this game, they've maybe found a guy that could be their lead back. He's a guy that in the past has always carried the mail for the team he's been on, and maybe this is a game where he can show the coaching staff he can do that here too.
Brings up a fresh set of downs, so this drive will continue for the Rams with under 3 minutes left with which to work. They're inside enemy territory now on the Huskers' 52-yard line, as Jones would love to find the end zone yet again and make this score a little bit more respectable. Of course, Canadian football, anything can happen in the final 5 minutes of a game.
Anything can happen.
Don't count out any team by any deficit. It's only 9 points. The Rams can do this.
I think if you're the Huskers, you're delighted. Let them run, even if they get first downs, because the clock continues to march.
Jones will take the snap and pitch it away to Derek Best yet again. He's going to be stopped for a loss this time. Maybe makes it back to the line of scrimmage, but I believe that will be a loss of 1 yard on the play.
Jaden Clausen in on the tackle, as Best couldn't find the same real estate he had last time. And
as you mentioned, of course, a running play like that, the clock does not stop, though I believe the Rams have, I was going to say they used a timeout. They did not. The clock continuing to tick down here. A little over 2.5 minutes left to play.
And Coach Philpott and company hoping they can score and maybe an onside kick and recover it and try to at least get a field goal to knot this thing up and send it to overtime.
Trey Jones takes the snap, 2nd and 11. He's looking skyward. Deep ball downfield. Cannot connect with Tato Araya. That's that one overthrown.
Took a pass out of Josh Jansen's playbook and showing off the arm strength, but a little too much touch on that one.
Maybe looking for a PI call. A little help from the officials to keep this drive alive. They got it earlier in the quarter, not this time, unfortunately, as Arya had about 3 defenders around him, but they all played it perfectly. And the Rams set to go for it here. 3rd and 11. This is the game, you have to think. Trey Jones puts his receivers in motion, takes the snap, and hands this ball off to Derek Best. Best with a surprise rush up the right side, nearly gets enough to move the sticks. I believe he's going to come up just 1 yard shy.
And you know what? It's nice to see Derek Best has continued to get better as this game has gone on. He's a big back. He's not like White's where you're slight and you're quick. He's a power back, and I think that you can get him going north to south, picking up 6-7 yards at a time. It's going to do nothing but good things for the Rams moving forward.
And you have to think that as that drive comes to an end with a turnover on downs, that will likely be the end of the Rams' comeback effort to try and make a game of this with a little over 2 minutes left to play in the 4th quarter.
You know, though, every play they're going for the strip. Like, it is one hand tackle and one hand trying to get the ball out of the ball carrier's hand.
And a pickup of 6 for the Huskers on that play will bring up 2nd and 4. As Valley perhaps not done putting points up on the board, they want to stretch this lead even further before this game comes to a close. Pass, or handoff rather, into the waiting hands of who else but Reese Wyke, and he will pick up more than enough yardage to move the sticks on that one. Pickup of about 7 on the play, and they only needed 4.
If you're the Rams coaching staff, the one thing you can take solace in, hey, we actually played a pretty good game. We clean up the penalties, number 1, and those interceptions, and it's a completely different ball game.
And that's been a story really throughout this season, that excessive penalties have really come to cost this Langley team.
And it's tough when you're the two-time defending champion. You've got that bullseye on your back. Everyone brings their best game, especially here at McLeod, where it's been a house of horrors for the visitors for many years.
There are no easy games for the defending champions this season. You're bang on correct about that, Warren. It is a war every single week, it seems, as teams eager to test their mettle against the defending national champions, even if a number of players responsible for winning that championship are no longer here in Langley, aging out of the program after a successful season last year.
Well, you look at it, if you're a hockey fan, you look at almost in hockey here with the Montreal Canadiens. Haven't been amazing lately, but they've got that crest that represents so much success. And the same with the Rams. It's a crest that represents so much success in the junior football ranks.
Absolutely. One of the dominant teams here in the BCFC over the last 5 years, certainly. Them and the Okanagan Sun. Perennial favorites.
My goodness, do they ever look good this year, the Okanagan Sun. They are steamrolling teams. West Shore Rebels take them on, both them undefeated, and West Shore Rebels went with their tails tucked between their legs after that one. Mike O'Shea and company really did a number on them.
As we're into the final minute now here in the fourth quarter.
So I think if you're Coach Philpott, you've got a decision to make next week in the game. Do you stick with Jones, Trey Jones, and hope that the things that he did well, he can continue to build on those, or do you look at maybe making a change and make Jones hungry on the sidelines?
I think if you gave him the vote of confidence within this game itself, you probably do want to stick with him for the bulk of the starts down the stretch in this season. And he shows very promising flashes of being the guy who is going to spark this offense down the stretch. You have to hope, if you are head coach Corey Philpott or Derek Henneberry, the offensive coordinator.
Well, and we've seen a great game from Best, a running back, I think, especially the second half. It's been excellent. And you look on the defensive side, guys like Bicklin and Barron really stepped up and tried to bring their A game during this one.
As the Rams really had a ton of options at running back and quarterback, honestly, coming into this season. 6 or 7 names deep at both positions. That list has been pared down a little bit here as we get into the season, of course. That's somewhat expected as guys settle into their spots, so to say. But Derek Best, yeah, really making a case for himself after Cairo Hassan had the bulk of the carries in last week's action. That is definitely a building block moving forward.
I like what I've seen from him because he's big. He's not trying to fool you. He's just going to plow you over like a bulldozer.
And it's a punt down the field for the Huskers. That Klassen will gather in at his own 25, but he's being pushed back as he looks to break loose. Brought down at the 20. With less than 40 seconds remaining in this one.
Like a scene out of Hunger Games. Everywhere he looked, there were snipers waiting for him.
We've seen some impressive stuff, speaking of kick returns, from Ryan Gosen over the course of this game as well, when he hasn't been brought back by penalty flags, unfortunately. And speaking of, there's a penalty flag on this one.
I think I heard over the loudspeakers here that the next home game is going to be against the Prince George Kodiaks. So that'll be a lot of fun because you know what, as far away as...
Number 34 and Huskers, 15-yard penalty, first down.
No yards is the call.
Because Valley's hosted Prince George twice, they travel well. It's an 8-hour trip. They will bring hundreds of fans with them to the game. It's a wonderful atmosphere. So if you are watching, but you have a chance to get down here to McLeod for that game, get down, do yourself a favor. It's a great, great atmosphere. They'll put the bow on this here with 38 seconds to go.
And it is a number of road games coming up here. This is the only home date on Langley's September schedule.
Oh, what a great reception. Terrell Jones to Jones, and he catches it even with the flag being thrown.
As we believe it's a connection between two brothers on that pass downfield.
he did a nice job of battling off Travis Spencer, who's a fine defensive back, and hauling that one in because Spencer was in his hip pocket all the way down.
You can see some family resemblance in the flow coming out of the back of the helmet between both Joneses, though.
You can't hide the DNA, especially when it comes with the mullet.
Terrell keeps his mouth guard in. That's the main difference between them on the field right now. Trey Jones always has that mouth guard flapping loose in the wind.
Pulling a Steph Curry.
As he takes the snap and will put the ball deep in the air yet again. Once more hoping to connect with number 80, Beckham Dickey, but it'll bounce off of his fingers and incomplete. A trio of defenders for the Huskers trying to come up with an interception, unsuccessful.
Well, I think Dickey tried to pay him back a little bit for some of those dropped passes as he played defensive back there and really stopped another interception from being added to Jones's tally.
26 seconds remain in this one. 2nd and 10 from the 29.
As crazy as it sounds, they score here. They're an onside kick away from possibly knotting this thing up. Welcome to Canadian football.
Absolutely. As Trey Jones looking deep once more. A number of long bombs in the late stages of this one, and it's complete for a touchdown. Jones to Jones, Trey to Terrell.
Flag thrown, though. Is this going to negate the feel-good feeling here in the stands?
Listen in and see the explanation from the officials on this one.
It almost looks like Jones battled off the defensive back maybe a little too hard. We'll see.
The way they're spotting the ball, though, possibly a penalty against the Huskers that the Rams are choosing to decline. As they're spotting this one at about where the point after attempt would get going.
Objectionable conduct after the touchdown, number 11 Rams. Penalty will be applied on the kickoff.
There we go.
So that's going to make it a deeper onside, which is not what they needed after finally coming through and scoring a big touchdown. And just 3 points shy. We talked about it, Justin, and you'll have a little more rush hour traffic to deal with at the end of this game.
But if you're Trey Jones, the fact that you not only were given the opportunity to stay in this game, but really in the final minute here, look deep on a long bomb on basically every single play. It's not just a good opportunity to grow your own confidence, but grow the confidence of your receivers and your coaching staff as well when you get those chances and come up big like he did for this touchdown right here.
You know what? No surprise when times are tough. You go to a guy you've probably thrown to about 500 times in your backyard. You've envisioned this play. You're probably doing the play-by-play yourself as you're chucking it in there. And this time they did it for real in junior football against one of their biggest rivals this season.
In the Cascade Cup, no less. As they're going to go for a 2-point convert here, if I'm not mistaken. Indeed, that looks like what they do. Why not make it a 1-point game with less than 20 seconds left to play?
Then you can try to kick it through the end zone to get the single point.
That is exactly what the Rams hope to do here, as they are able to get the 2-point convert.
How many people have left the building? It looks like everyone stayed so far, and they are in for quite the finish, Justin.
And the pass was complete to the guy who would have been kicking it through the uprights if they'd gone for one. Tato Aria able to gather that one in and put 2 points on the board with his hands instead of 1 with his boot.
What a wild finish. 19 seconds to go. Onside kick coming up. Is the wind going to play a factor?
Can the Rams pull this off? This would be a win for the ages. One that the attending fans here at McLeod will never forget if they're able to do this with just 19 seconds remaining here in quarter number 4.
Can they forge Paul McCallum's birth certificate for this kick?
Can they bring back Sean White?
Exactly.
Former kicker for the Big Kahuna. Speaking of the Surrey Rams.
There's a long list of great kickers that have suited up for the Rams.
As It's Tato
we
Aria,
go.
who just got that 2-point convert, will go for the onside kick, and it goes right out of bounds at the 55.
Little too much mustard on the hot dog there, unfortunately.
A little too excited, perhaps, after making that big catch at the other end.
But what a finish. 5 minutes to go. If you said it's going to be a 1-point game with 20 seconds to go, you might have thought you were a little bit crazy. I think this one's all over but the crying.
Well, I was supposed to duck out of this one early, Warren, because I got to work the Vancouver Canadians broadcast
I know.
later this evening. But this game's been too exciting. I haven't been able to pry myself away from it.
They suckered you, and if I have to, I'll do the wrap-up for you so you can make your way there. And what a good Saturday night for you. You come and call some football, and then you're off to the Nat for some. Is it the Nat?
They're on the road.
They're on the road. Oh,
They're
okay.
down in Spokane.
But the beautiful Sportsnet studios.
Absolutely. And in fact, I think I will leave the final seconds to you, Warren
All
Andrews. Right. Thank you so much for joining me here this week. It's been a heck of a game. And we just have 19 seconds left to play.
Justin Morissette, fine job. Retelling each and every play here as the clock will wind down. You have to think the Huskers will go into victory formation.
Kickoff out of bounds. First down, Ram. Or the Huskers.
And you can see Reese Wyke behind him. Josh Jansen surrounded by green. And this will be a huge victory for the Valley Huskers, who have not won here in McLeod in a long, long, long time. Formed in, I believe, 1999 as then the Chilliwack Huskers. I'd have to go back through the record books to see the last time they won, but it's been a long time. But these Rams have shown some real resilience here, getting all the way to within 1 point and an onside kick of tying this thing up. So one heck of a game here at McLeod. That will be the end jubilation.
The final score of the first ever Cascade Cup between the Valley Huskers and the Langley Rams. Valley Huskers 23, Langley Rams 22. Thank you so much for coming out today, folks. The Rams appreciates your support and also appreciates the support of all the businesses in the community. Please join us for the last home game on October 1st against the Prince George Kodiaks.
So there you go. You'll have to tune in to BCFC TV if you want to see your Rams in action over the next few games, as they'll be on the road. Just one home game left against the expansion Prince George Kodiaks. Then that'll be a good one here at the beginning of October. Huskers continue on the road, trip down to Victoria, I believe, next to take on the West Shore Rebels coming up. They won't be back home until October also, when they host, I believe it is, the Kamloops Broncos. Well, for Justin Morissette, Tom Warren Andrews, Robbie Snooks, and the amazing gang with For the Win Media bringing you all the visuals, as we will now turn our attention to the PA announcement and present the Cascade Cup.
you.